How about that? Woo! Longest intro on the inner tube. Welcome, 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 everybody. Thanks for hanging in there. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all my wonderful mods. Happy Halloween week. This is what we've been waiting for. This has got to be, hands down, my favorite week of the year. Now, does it get any better? The leaves are changing. If you're in a spot where you can leaf peep, isn't that what they call it now? Leaf peeping? And you can see the leaves falling and air is getting a little mystery kind of chill in it. Man, it's just pumpkins. I mean, hot tea, hot cuppa, you know, little hot chocolate, maybe a little Southern Comfort in it. How's everybody doing tonight? These wonderful mods, first and foremost, they've been with me for so long now. We've lost count. It's not our first Halloween, so you're in the right spot. Tonight is going to be fantastic. Welcome to everybody new in here. We highly, highly, highly recommend pop out a second while I'm jawing and rambling on. Hit the like and come on back in here and think about subscribing. And I'll tell you why. We have a blast. We have a blast. And this week we are doing Cabin 22. That is a, if you don't know what Cabin 22 is, it's a I'll explain more later, but basically it's a novel I wrote, and it was on a bet for Mr. Steve Stockton, and it's a Halloween bet, and the bet was, I bet you can't write a book or a story, is how it started. Everything you can imagine for Halloween, but make it make sense. Have it have an arc. The character should have, like, you know, a little bit of an arc, but we started out making it kind of like a Scooby-Doo episode. That's what I set out to do. It had a mind of its own. Ask any mod or gatekeeper in here and that has heard the story. They will tell you it's got everything. It's got Moonshiners. It's got ghosts. It's got sour soil and soul collectors and La Rougarou and Bigfoot and portals and mediums and psychics and a murder mystery and on and on and on and on and on, clairvoyance and the balance of nature and you know, trying to take that native tribal way as well as what you would call mountain people and that special kind of tribal as well, right? Villages and small towns that take care of their area, and everybody kind of watches out for each other and watches out for the, you know, the land around them, whether that be, you know, you call that Navajo or call it Congo or call it, you know, multiple anything, you know, in the Highlands in Scotland and, you know, in the mountains of Japan. I mean, all over. It's just something that is. That groups learn to live with other groups. Squirrels, raccoons, skunks, coyotes, foxes. It's all in my backyard. Mostly in my backyard. The coolest thing is everybody eats together. You know, I've got a rabbit and there's a stray cat here eating something and a couple of chipmunks and a squirrel. You know, they might not, you know, chase each other around, but everybody eats. And that story, Cabin 22, kind of focuses on that, but at the same time focuses on the character development and how the universe and your culture and your climate and your surroundings and your upbringing and your just something as mundane as your job, as your neighborhood, as your family, and the way you were raised can change a person, and the choices that they make along their journey and how they got to where they are and why they are the way they are. And how they are supposed to come together too. It's really funny how the further you get out of the woods, the less things get along together. You get in the woods, everything has got a balance, you know. Give it to humans to mess it up, right? So it's got a little to do with all that, but it definitely has a heavy supernatural, heavy paranormal river running through it. Does it not, gatekeepers? So I will hope you stay for that. Tonight we're doing the prequel chapters 1 and 2, which comes out to about an hour and 15 minutes. Our co-host tonight is just finishing up with one of her podcasts, and she will be in, and that is Cyn Shrader Hill. I think I just got a message from her. I'll check on that. But she's a hoot, and highly highly attuned to this subject, and the things that she does in the paranormal. I'll let you tell you about. Let her tell you guys about that. She is also an author, and wonderful, intuitive on EVPs and messages from the other side, and wonderful investigator, and just multiple things. I think everybody in here, if you think about it, we like to think each other of ourselves as kind of almost two-dimensional in our world, especially when we've got so much pressure coming from the outside in. We forget, it's almost pushes us flat like a pancake, right? We forget we have all these layers, and it's cool to have all these layers. All these layers. Oh, you love my hat? You little girl, this is my look. This is my little crispy, and he's doing like this. He's going, whoa, can't cancel me. Whoa. Goes for people too. But anyway, cute ghosts. So that's the thing about Cabin 22. I think there's multiple things in it, and I was trying to do all that without reading the whole chat because I get so distracted as it is. But I'm very excited tonight. I thank everybody that's in here tonight that's new. I hope you'll stay. As I said, we're doing it's about an hour 10 15 minutes on it's an audiobook. I wrote it. I narrate it. I do all the voices. Do all the videos, and so it'll be visual accompaniment. It's not, I try to let you have your imagination. I don't give you too many visuals. I give you a couple to play off of, but the rest of it comes from your mind. And hopefully I wrote it to where you will have no problem being there. That was my number one goal when I wrote this, to take the reader away, help you escape, but also dig very deeply in multiple directions in a subject that you're probably very interested in, because this story has everything as per the bet. Everything Halloween. And we always like to play a game when we do this because this is a Halloween tradition. And every year we like to go through and try to pick out all the little things. So it might be a bat, or it could be skeleton, ghost. It could be anything that has to do with Halloween. So shout it out in the chat if you hear it. We're going to be playing that in a little bit. We'll get that started. We're waiting on Cyn to come in to do that. Meanwhile, there's multiple things I want to show you. So I throw some Halloween treats at you if you're doing something this week. Is this my Tim Pool beanie? Is it really? You put a beanie on like this, it just makes you, it takes you places, I'm telling you. Did you listen to it on Steve's channel, Bernice? Now, did you hear the whole thing from beginning to end, from the prequel to the last chapter? Because the thing was with this story, I honestly believe, and I'm going to tell you the truth, that part of it was spirit driven, as far as I would write a character and say I'd do this long monologue between two characters, and it was almost like they took over. I'd read it to Steve. My MO to doing this was sit down, write a chapter, then sit right down and start narrating it right off. Looking for the sound effects. They had to be exact, researching certain things so I'd get the facts right. Steve and I had a lot of wild phone calls, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow night, because Steve and I are going to do chapter 3, one of my favorites, because it's the cave, guys, tomorrow night with Steve Stockton. And you know what I mean. If you know, you know. If you don't say anything. Because for new people, I haven't heard it. But that's also cool too, because the gatekeepers here in this chat, my wonderful mods and gatekeepers and light workers, and mixture of these wonderful, loving, smart souls here, they've heard it before and can kind of answer questions, because some of these characters are kind of deep. And feel free. We have fun with this. So other than that, tonight I'm going to start out with a little nostalgia stuff, because I just think it's cool to look back over Halloweens. And what was it like for you? Did you get to trick or treat? Was that something that your family did. Did you celebrate? If so, how did you celebrate? You know, or was it more of a harvest time and more of a natural thing where you're just, maybe you lived on a farm and you take in, that's a big time of harvest and celebration. Maybe there was, hey, maybe there was hay rides or barn dances or, I guess scarecrow making is more toward the spring because you want to keep the crows out. But I think they go through, through the fall. But hey, Vixen Doe. Hey, Bernice. Hey, Yoda Girl. Sapphire. You were in here early, Sapphire. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see who else we got. I saw Lindsay in here. I saw Ted. I thought I saw Salvador earlier. If I did, hey, sweetheart. Hey, Ron. Glad to see you made it. Good, good, good. Thank you for being here. I saw a couple of new people in here, and I thank you guys so much for treating them well. Danielle, thank you for being here. There's Ted. Hi, honey. Hello, hello, hello. Jared, thanks for stopping in. I saw you over there on Steve's channel. And again, Steve will be here tomorrow night. It's always a hoot on Monday nights. Hey, Greg Koss. Hey, honey, how are you? Welcome, welcome. I hope you're going to stay. Love and hugs back to you. I hope you're going to stay to hear the cabin if you've never heard it before. So anyway, the fun games are, it's kind of like Rocky Horror Picture Show. If you hear something like that, and it's a Halloween thing, shout it out in the chat. Don't throw anything at your screen. Don't throw live bats or rubber bats or anything else at your screen. If you do, disclaimer, I'm not responsible, but the gatekeepers can guide you through that too. But black cats, maybe it's a thunderstorm and typical Halloween spooky stuff. We always shout it out in the chat because it's loaded. It's pack loaded. This story is absolutely pack loaded. Just jam packed. So one of the other things that comes from this are these really cool recipes and ideas. And I showed these last week. I wanted to show a couple again. We have your bacon wrapped jalapeno. Okay, so you take half a jalapeno pepper, hollow it out, keep as much. I suggest take the seeds out, but you do you. And I'm no cook. This is simple stuff. Look. My idea of an hors d'oeuvre is cornflake with peanut butter on it. If you place them right on a doily, people just eat it up. Hey, and Edna, welcome in. I'm so glad you're here for this. I'm so glad, darling. Much love to you. Everybody that needs healing light or an extra hug tonight or good vibes or any of that stuff. This chat is filled with light workers. So everybody just focus on throwing your light out there, and whoever needs it, just grab you some of that good energy. And we're going to be here all week, every night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay. We're going to do at least one chapter. It'll run, every show is going to run about an hour, hour and a half. There'll be a different co-host, a couple popping in and out that are signed up this week to come. Ron got moved tonight. God bless him. He needs some of that healing energy. Him and his family. Someone is not feeling too good. So we said, hey, instead of making it the opening, Ron, with Ron telling us about dogmen and werewolves and all that as the opener, we're going to put it at the end to make it the finale. Adapt and overcome. And we absolutely send love and prayers to Ron. Of course, you know what? You just make it work, guys. Right? Easy breezy. That's how it's supposed to be. Just, just like this little ghost here, just on to the next, and lots of healing light and energy to everybody who needs it out there. And I'm so serious about that. So talking about energy, if you want to leave the seeds in these jalapenos, depending on the strength of your pepper, you could shoot you to the moon. But I'm telling you, these are good. It's a mix of feta cheese, your own, do your own. But this one is feta cheese, Parmesan, and cheddar, I believe. And some of them, they do the fila dough, and they cut strips and make them like little mummies. This one has that and bacon, but you can do a combo or one or the other or both. So there you go. Not a cook, but anybody should be able to make that toaster oven, air fryer. Don't ask me. You do you. Simple, right? Jalapeno peppers, yep. And this one was really cool because this is like a s'mores, like for the kids that serve with graham crackers, and they just cut the marshmallows in the shape of the ghosts and stick them together, almost like a layer of biscuits on the top. And underneath is another layer of marshmallow, chocolate, and I think a graham cracker crust at the bottom, kind of like a hot dessert dip. That's like a little bit too much like cooking for me. Oh, mini chocolate chips for the eyes. I mean, what could be simpler, right? I mean, I could make this, and I burn Pop-Tarts. Okay, so love this. Love this. This is right up my alley. I don't like the avocado, but you can make any dip you want. The green kind of sets it off, though. Any face you want on the pumpkin, but I love this. I love everything about it. I think it's cute. I think it's easy, and I think it makes a powerful, if you're having a Halloween buffet, a party, kids, whatever, you be kid friendly. But I just think it's cute. This one is thick cut maple cured bacon, cooked to perfection, and double dipped in dark chocolate and lightly sprinkled with bright orange Halloween confection sugar balls. How about that? So I can't possibly say any more about that. Looks like a bowl of damned souls, Daniel. It does. It does. Well, all the more. So here you go. Here is, and I love the cutting board and the whole display on this one. But this is the double dipped peanut butter balls. Now, any recipe with the peanut butter balls, it's chocolate drizzled over the top. Personally, I would double dip this because there's never enough chocolate when you're talking about this much peanut butter. Just my, 2 cents. Okay. Which is worth not 2 cents, I'm sure. And then the piece de resistance is the bacon crumble topping. It's candied bacon and brown sugar. Crumble it up and dip the balls in the bacon. Yep, like bacon dips. Exactly, Sapphire. Exactly. I think that's, and this one, another personal favorite of mine, and also can be used as a garnish on multiple things, like those dips and things like that. You make a scene, whatever. It's the maple bacon again, and they are, yes, bacon bats. Enough said. See what else we got here. Hemingway. That was from last week. So there you go. See if you get something out of that one. And real quick here, just to review, these are some dips. And basically they're dips I did. You put anything you want underneath. 7-layer dip, taco dip, whatever. The trick is to use the filo dough and make it look like a little graveyard scene, and cut the trees out of it. Fun for kids and adults alike, right? This is another easy dip thing. Love it with the spider rig in the middle, and the drizzle spider web. Very cool. Brie cheese with the filo dough. This is adorable. And I think there's another one. I kind of like the other one. This one's because it looks more, I don't know. It almost looks more antiqued, I guess, because of the filo dough, but you cooks know what you're doing out there. But I like that one. This one looks a little too neat. Maybe it's not filo dough. They might have used pie crust on this one. It looks like a little heavier. But again, I'm no Martha Stewart, and thank God for that. So also with filo dough is the little smokies. Again, kids could help with this, the grandkids, whatever. I love the toenail out of the sliver of almond. Very cool, very cool. I think Cyn might be here. Cyn, are you here? Let me see. Could bring her in. Maybe she cooks. Hold on, let me see. Are you ready? Thumbs up if you're ready. I don't want to rush you. Okay.
Hi.
Hey, girl. I'm so excited. I'm so glad you're here. You're just in time for the fun with filo dough. Do you cook?
I am not a
Me
great
either.
cook, but
Me either.
I like
Okay.
to play sometimes, and like with that kind of stuff. So that looks
This
fun.
is fun. This is fun. And look, I put it together so you can kind of like, kids on, one side, you can make it fun with the bulby, the funny eyes, or, just dress up an adult tray too. Although I still don't get the whole, prosciutto and mango there. I'm not digging that. But
Oh,
the little fila dough, these are jalapeno peppers
oh
stuffed
yeah,
with cheese and wrapped in the fila dough with candy eyes. What could go wrong?
I
So
like it.
welcome. How are
Thank
you tonight?
you, my friend. I have missed you,
Oh
so
my
I'm so
goodness.
glad to be on here.
When you're gonna get a big old damn dose tonight, I'm telling you what, you're gonna be good for a whole nother week. I
Awesome.
know. I feel the same way. It's like, we could just talk forever and have a blast. We're gonna have a blast tonight. And you've never heard Cabin 22, have you?
No, I have not.
Okay,
So
see,
I
so
am
that's so
excited.
cool. This is so cool. This is so cool. So let's just I'm gonna finish showing these and then we'll get rid of this and we'll talk. Okay. Um I was hoping you'd give some pointers, but it's blind leading the blind. So we're just going to show pictures and and guess at them. But anyway, this one I thought was cute too because this is just with cheese. So if you got some kids, you want to throw some little bagel half pizzas out there. It's just presentation. That's isn't presentation like 9/10 of the law or something like that, Cyn?
I think so. I think
So there,
so.
to have fun with it is the idea. So do you think prosciutto goes? Dan says that prosciutto goes better with melon. I don't know
Oh,
because
I yeah, I don't. I'm not
yeah,
a
I'm not a
prosciutto
prosciutto
person.
person. Mm,
Mm-mm, I'm
mm,
not
mm,
either.
bacon, bacon, all bacon. Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot.
yeah.
That's one of our recipes. Now, see, I cut myself short. I
Yes, you did.
actually made something. Look, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, yes, yes. Gatekeepers, you know what this is. This is bacon caramel
What?
popcorn. Bacon caramel popcorn. Can you smell it? Here,
Oh,
if I get it close to the mic, can you smell it?
I wish.
Oh my gosh. I actually made this before the show and I did it to make a point. If I can do it, you can do it. You can make popcorn balls with these. You can have all kind of fun. And listen, who doesn't? Who doesn't love this, right? And it's cheap too, especially if you get the bag of popcorn and go at it that way and you're not spending for the higher end or anywhere in between. And it's baking soda. I actually have the recipe. It's baking soda, just a titch of baking soda. It's the vanilla makes all the difference. Brown sugar, a little bit of light corn syrup if you want, butter. That's it. And popcorn.
That's it?
Yeah, and popcorn.
We're gonna have
So,
to do some here at the house.
well, please do. You have
Yeah,
all week. Look, this Cabin 22, I'm going to explain real quick. Cabin 22 is going starting tonight. We are launching this, you and I, Cyn, and it is chapters 1 and 2. Well, every show will be about an hour. About an hour and a half till you get at the very end, which is a 2-hour finale. So at the end, next, I think Friday will be the finale. And that way you guys got the weekend to go to parties and all that kind of stuff. I didn't want to get up all in that. But 6 consecutive nights with different co-hosts, surprise co-hosts all the way through. And Cyn was lovely enough. With Ron Murphy couldn't be here tonight, so we're moving him as the finale. And we're just going to start early on this and ask you, how have you been? What have you been up to? Tell us about a little bit about you. Tell the chat here. Wonderful
yeah,
author, paranormalist is what I'm calling it now. I'm gonna make that one trend. Paranormalist.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I'm
I
digging it.
just we just finished the Tennessee Haunts and Legends Expo,
Yes.
and Eric and I were
You
talking
see,
about you.
Eric.
So were your ears burning because we were talking about you?
Was it? Was it?
I
I'm
love
gonna
him.
just go ahead and just it's all true. It's all true. If it, you know what I'm saying, just
It has to be.
and even the bad stuff. Did he tell you how batshit crazy I was in Gettysburg? And he's like, "What's she doing now? Where's she going?
No,
Why? Where's she going with those pancakes?" I mean,
no.
these were actual conversations, folks.
His words were, let
Too
me
much.
find Cisco again. Where the hell is she? Because everybody else is batshit crazy.
Really, God bless
Yeah,
him. He's such a love. What a
he's
mind he
great.
has. What a heart he has. What a just, I can't say enough things about it. I love his absolute how he digs history and
Yes.
digs into history, and his understanding of the equipment. I mean, it's just, he's got so many layers, so many people do. And I think that's what we were talking about earlier. It's like this story that we're going to listen to. There's multiple layers here. Don't ask me how I did this, folks. I'm telling you, this was spirit driven. And when I talk about it, I'd almost talk about it like I didn't write it, but I was the only one in the room that you could see. I mean, this is a God's honest truth. Cyn, did you ever have this happen to you? Were you writing? Do you feel like maybe you had a little like oomph from the other side? Did you
Yes,
sometimes?
especially with the fiction.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, because the true stories are what they are. But,
agreed.
Mark and I did that fiction book, and I really don't know where those stories came from.
It's like, I know, it's like somebody standing behind you. It's no you don't feel the same, like this heavy pressure on your chest. You feel more like a warmth around your shoulders. I know this sounds weird, almost like
Mhm.
something's hanging on and just helping you with
Yeah,
ideas. I
and
would
it
read
just
it
flows.
after. I would read it after Cyn, and I would like,
Mhm.
I wrote that?
Right.
That's good. It's just but not just because it was good, but it came out of nowhere. It wasn't me. It wasn't something I'd say. It wasn't something I would in the cadence I would put it in. It wasn't, do you see what I'm saying?
And
It was
yeah,
just this character flowing. And I swear there were times that I know Skeet was laying on the top of the secretary over here in this. The secretary is a big desk with a roll top. If you don't know, I don't mean he's laying on a secretary. That sounded awful, and I apologize.
ah,
It's gonna be
I
that
mean,
kind of
I
night.
knew what you meant. I knew what you meant.
Disclaimer. So anyway, this I could almost see this character like, almost like a oh, I don't know how to describe it, almost like a live cartoon animation kind of thing. Just laying on the top of a desk sideways, like you would lay on a bunk in a prison or something, and just chat with you, you know. And you could almost hear something like, "I'd never say nothing like that," Better fix that, you
That
know.
wasn't right.
And I and
That
I and I'd hear it, and it's so funny because listen, when I do these voices, I do these Southern voices, you have no idea how much I miss the South. You have no idea how much I respect and love and feel. I've had the opportunity to live half my life Northern and half my life Southern. So I got a little, but you can hear it when I start talking
well, and
pretty
Eric and
soon.
I both want you back down here.
Oh my
Eric and I
goodness.
both want you here.
Wouldn't that be lovely? Well,
Yes.
well, let's,
Just think of all this fun we could do,
oh my gosh.
all the
Yeah.
places, and
Yeah,
it would
I
be
know.
great.
Oh
It'd
my
be
gosh,
great.
right? But see, that's what I mean. I just want people to know that I have this abundant love for the South. So when I say stuff throughout this thing, you've got a man coming from, he's all he knows is upstate New York and New York City, and the hustle bustle, and he goes switching everything. He's getting a divorce. He's at tail end of a divorce, changing jobs, new city, all the stuff's moved ahead and waiting on him, new job, and he's going heart of the South. So, and he's open hearted to it, but he's not used to it. So when he sees a sign that says, best you ever gonna get, and it's spelled that way, he just looks at it like this warmth, like, wow, okay. And then he starts listening to, things like commode. It's like, what's that? And then he comes upon this one with the pull chain in this old place. And he kind of, okay, commode. I got it. Because it's the big tank above where the water comes down. Whoosh, you know what I mean? Just weird stuff like that. And I understand that change and that move that he made. And when I talk about it, I mean it with like, man, this is gonna be nice. He's like warming up to it. He's not quite used to it, but
Yeah.
man, this is a change. I could get used to this simple, no nonsense way of just being human. And You know what I mean? It's just it's a wild experience. I'm so glad you're here for tonight.
Oh,
So
I am too.
so listen, before we say anything else, tell us about your books. I want to chat mods. If you could grab a hold of Cyn's links and throw them down in the chat. This is a wonderful author. She has multiple books out, and as I said, she's focuses EVPs, communicating with the other side, deciphering those things, paranormal investigator, paranormalist, and multiple other things. So tell us a little bit about where to find your books too before we get all caught up.
I'm self-published on Amazon, so you can find me on there, Cyn Shrader Hill. My new book just came out, Realm of Shadows, True Ghost Stories, and Eerie Tales. And I'm so excited. Eric had a copy and Regina had a copy.
Wow,
So
wow.
those were the first ones I got to actually hold and see in person. So it was so exciting. My author copies, I won't get them until the 1st of November.
They
So
take so
hopefully
long.
having
It takes so
a
long.
signing. I know. But
People
hopefully
never
having a
understand why I
signing.
don't have any books on me, because when I see people, I hand them out. It takes so long to get them. We don't get that big of a cut either. I mean, tell
No,
you the
no.
truth, you know, because I don't charge an arm and a leg for mine. You know what I mean? I want people
Mhm.
to have them. So mine's on, as you're on Kindle as well as paperback, or
Yes, and
both?
if you have Kindle Unlimited, they're free. So,
There you go. There you go. So
Yeah,
get you some ghost stories. You know, download something off of Kindle. Tell these ghost stories. Start a tradition in your family where, like,
absolutely.
maybe while you're going over the Halloween, excuse me, I got the hiccups. Boo. Hey, it worked. While you're going over the kids' Halloween candy or something, have somebody read from the from Cyn's book on those all these different short scary stories. Which one is that? It's the one that it's got all the different stories in it.
All of them. They're all
Okay,
short story books. Every one
there
of
you
mine
go.
are short story books. And this last one, Realm of Shadows, True Ghost Stories and Eerie Tales, is actually the creepiest book I've written
There you
yet.
go.
So it was some of the darker things that have happened and
Mhm.
some of the things that made you leave going, ooh,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
like that a bit. I didn't like that. But,
There's
my other
there's
4
always
on
that. Yeah,
Amazon. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
there's always
But
that
see, that
something.
sounds like the perfect one now. If you have, if you're getting a little used to the subject, you need a little extra
Yep,
to push. Get that one on Kindle and read them around. You know, like I said, while you're baking cookies or whatever you do for your, you know, family crafting, or the, you know, even the adults, man, everybody take a turn, read a story out loud or something. Wouldn't that be a great tradition to
absolutely.
start again? I mean, for Pete's sakes,
Yes,
they're trying to split us up and make us non-social. We need to get back and fight against that. Get around that campfire again, the fire pit, the fireplace, the, I don't know, a can of Sterno in the center of the table in the living room. I don't know.
anything,
Just,
yeah,
you know, and
any
gather around. Nobody plays Scrabble no anymore. We were
mm,
listening to a mystery the other night, myself and a lot of these wonderful people here in this chat, and they played Scrabble. They were in a cabin, so they were playing Scrabble. Nobody does that. And, you know, Uno and Rummy and spades and poker and, you know, backgammon and chess. God, I love, you know, love those.
well,
Battleship.
except
We
this
should do it.
girl,
Do you do it?
except that yes, every Friday night,
Wonderful. Oh, wow.
we have a game night with our best friends. So, it's me and my
Far out.
husband and her husband, and we have the best time.
It's too
Have the
much
best time.
fun.
All hell
See,
breaks loose sometimes,
that,
you just never know.
and I encourage people to do this. And, you know, I mean, that neighbor or whatever that, you know, who knows? Maybe you'll get one of those, a plate full of those jalapeno mummies or something.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wouldn't that be
absolutely.
nice? I mean, people used to do that. I remember my mom they used to meet for cards. I wasn't sure
Mhm.
what they were playing, but they were meeting for cards. They had a card table, and that's when that thing came out. I knew it was serious. Somebody's playing cards, and you four people, and the fold up chairs that come out, and the little things that only came out then with the dish with the bridge mix in it. Not a damn thing in that bowl was good, by the way. I always thought that there was a little thing that was almost looked like a, well, there was a nougat that had like fruit in it. It was like a white, almost like a caramel,
Oh,
but it
yeah,
was
yeah.
white. There's a nougat. Then there's one that's like a coconut thing, but it's layered. It's white and pink and brown. And you think it's going to be chocolate. It doesn't taste like chocolate. I'm telling you, it's nothing good in there except maybe the chocolate covered almonds, and that was it. I mean, it was old people candy. And it might be
Oh.
one of those red and that's me as a senior saying that. Uh I hate, I'll never get used to that.
No.
Peppermints, the white and red peppermints were it's the most boring crap ever. Now you
Yeah.
can have one of these dips that looks like a spider web that's got some serious, whatever, kickapoo, whatever to it. You know what I mean? But anyway, what did you do at Halloween? Did you celebrate as a young? I find it hard to believe that you wouldn't.
Yeah, loved Halloween. From the 1st of October through the end of the year was always my favorite time of year anyway.
All right,
And my birthday's in November, so, that was right in the middle of Christmas
cool.
and Halloween, so
Yeah.
what more could you want? And gosh, I remember going around the avenues, getting candy, dressing up and getting candy,
All the
and,
wonderful costumes, making the costumes, planning for the costumes, who you
yeah.
going with, the first time you ever got to go with that. I don't ever remember being walked around by an adult ever, 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 not once.
No, I
I don't even
remember
think that
being
started
driven.
till,
I remember being driven to,
yeah,
like,
maybe.
one of the
I'm
avenues
dropped off.
and them saying, "Okay, here you go. We'll pick you
Yep.
up at the end." And you go house to house, and
Mhm.
everybody was fine,
I
you
did that
know?
with my kids, but as a kid myself, I always remember going with a group of other kids. Nope.
Yep.
No parent. Listen, in the 70s, parents did not come out of the house unless you were cutting the lawn or working on a car. You paint the house once every 5 years, but they didn't come out of the house. Once they got in there, they were in front of that Zenith or doing whatever it was parents did in the kitchen with the avocado green kitchen or the whatever, that antique gold in the 70s,
Yeah, that
trying to pick
orange
things.
color and
Well,
mm.
we had one avocado green bathroom, one gold bathroom, shag carpeting. All took a whole decade for people to realize you shouldn't have carpeting in the bathroom,
Yeah.
especially shag, but they went for it. So this is the most fabulous popcorn, guys. I don't know if you're popcorn people, but it's also with economy really, tight. I remember when a pound of bacon used to be a pound. So I get it. It's not a pound anymore. It's weird, but it costs even more. So it's crazy. But popcorn can be relatively cheap. A little butter, a little bit of, there's plenty of recipes out there that don't have the cornstarch. They just have, I think, like 3 ingredients: the brown sugar, the butter, and bacon if you want to throw it in there, or peanuts if you want to put that in there too. Make it like what was that stuff called? Fiddle faddle or something similar to
Mhm.
that. Make it your own. I see people throwing marshmallows. Look, just the bacon and the caramel's enough. It's so good. So I just wanted to throw this out for the chat in case you guys need some ideas. But you can also kind of make, popcorn balls. Remember
Mhm.
those where they used to do
Yeah.
that, wrap them in cellophane? You can also do it with the popcorn ball. And there's a picture in here that, listen, as a designer, as a floral designer, and somebody who does windows for stores and stuff like that, I can tell you a can of spray paint, it's worth its weight in gold. You go to the dollar store, get some of these fancy glasses, turn them upside down, spray them all one color. It's a great display. Popcorn balls on the top. It looks hot. I mean, if you're having a Halloween party and you're just trying to get the most bang for your buck, this is a great idea. So look for that in here too. And there's 2 recipes here. I think this is the caramel bacon. If not, forgive me. It'll be the second one. Here we go, Cyn. If you're ready. You ready? Here we
I'm
go.
ready.
Tasty treats. Yes, right one.
I love your graphics.
Is that not fantastic?
I love them.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Yummy.
It's so good. What could go wrong?
Right? I know Greg would love this.
So good. And it's sticky enough you can mold it. You know what I mean? It's perfect for the kids. Here's the recipe. This is a simple one. This is with vegetable oil. is everything. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, I love it.
That's spray painted cups, plastic cups. Amazing. The vintage nostalgia look. You do everything with it. From high end to vintage, you know, and everything in between. Happy Halloween, everybody.
That's perfect.
We spare no expense here. So
Perfect.
if you happen to get a little thirsty, we have you. When we watch this book, you're going to meet a lady named Mrs. McGee. She bakes a mean pie, and her specialty is apples. So we have a little recipe here for Mrs. McGee's apple pie moonshine, and it's got a kick. So there is an adult beverage recipe here, and there's also a kid beverage, and it's great because basically it's apple cider and a couple other things, and it's like almost like a
cider,
not a smoothie, but you know, frozen.
you
can put it
like
put
a
it in
slushy.
a thing. Thank you, perfect. Yes, like a slushy, but it's so tasty. It's the stuff that you put in with it that makes it taste like that apple pie. It just doesn't have the Fireball and the vanilla vodka in it. But
Get the Fireball.
Oh my, come on now, come on, look, I'm telling you, you'd never know it too. You'd never know it. You'd never
really
know. Look at this. Yes. Apple cider. Don't use the juice. Cider. Mrs. McGee's apple pie moonshine. Highly recommend it. It's got a kick. It's honey, brown sugar, and cinnamon on the rim. Stop it. With an apple slice. This is the slushy version. I can't say it. Ain't your grandma's apple pie. Tastes just like the moonshine that comes down in some of those southern hills, you know, you and I were talking about on the mountain. So here's the ingredients. Vanilla vodka, Fireball whiskey, apple cider, sugar, cinnamon, honey, apple slice, brown sugar, and cinnamon on the rim. I'm not responsible. Yep, and a non-alcoholic spider cider. Just don't put in the alcohol. This is so cute, the little licorice, you know? Yeah. And I can put the full recipe in the directions below. Yep. Ghost Story snacks, everybody.
Perfect.
We provide you with everything. Since I may be a little flaky, but I'm sweet as can be, Mrs. McGee. You're going to meet her tonight. There you go, guys.
Nice.
We even give you recipes. I'm telling you what, you can't go wrong, and they go well together. So there you guys go. I'll show you that throughout the week. So if you need it, or get it off the video, just stop and, you know, do a screen shoot it or something like that. But there's several recipes out there for the caramel bacon popcorn. So like I said, there's a couple out there. It's just like 3-4 ingredients. So enjoy it. I hope you don't OD on Mrs. McGee's moonshine. It's really good. You know, so like you make for the kids. I love the little licorice spiders with the little licorice. And I don't like licorice, but it's a cute way to make spiders for kids on the straw. You know, you know, anything like that. Crafts with kids, you know, with kids. Even if you're making the Tootsie Roll Pop Ghosts with the little napkins, do something with them. Get their hands busy. Get them interested again in Halloween. Maybe they'll grow up to be paranormalists or ghost hunters or ghost savers, even better. You know, what do you think, Cyn? Right?
Yes.
All right.
They'll definitely have some great recipes.
Yep. I'm trying to keep this on the right time. I think we did great with time. So here we go. I'm going to lay out some ground stuff. Cyn, stay as long as you want. Go if you need. Come and go. You know, look, you're home. You know, we're just visiting, having a good time. But I know it's long. And what this is, guys, is basically, this is an audiobook, but with visual enhancement. And I'm really very much into the I want to take you there in your imagination, so I'm not going to show you a person or something. Like, you have to I think you'll be able to see it, you know. And it's I think you're going to enjoy it. And we can talk, you can ask questions, chat if you have questions, mods. If you can't answer it and we need to stop and talk about a certain part, we can also do that, because there's a lot of things to learn in here. It's not just a story, it's stuff that I've learned through my life as a paranormal seeker, answer, question asker, whatever you want to call it. Um, and a lot of these characters are kind of going through their own journey like that too, if that makes any kind of sense. So, do you have a fur baby there while I get this set up? I'm trying to get
I
rid of.
do. There's Miss Bella,
Oh,
Queen Bee.
how precious, Queen Bee. Hello, sugar.
Queen Bee.
Hello, sugar. I do that, and then I'm with the cat hair the whole show.
Yeah.
On the mic, that's all you're. So, I'm going to take us back real quick. I got a quick, like, little 5-minute funny here, because if you're not old like me, you won't have these memories in your head. But when I keep talking about Halloween, this is the kind of stuff I see. And again, it's just like any other holiday. You go back, your mind goes back, and you hear the leaves going down the street and looking up at the street lights, and maybe you got lucky and saw a bat, or the kids laughing and trading candy, and I got a rock, and just all that kind of stuff. I got a Snickers mini, and the different things. I remember the candy bars they were real big, and then they were real happy they made them small for this bite-sized trick-or-treat stuff, and then they kind of got big, and then they got small again. So it's kind of wild in my lifetime. So let's see what this is. I'm sure it's fun. Yep, I thought so. They'll look back at the 60s for Halloween. Look at this. This is what I had to wear.
Me too.
Came in a box.
Yeah.
Couldn't see. Couldn't breathe. You sweat. That little elastic string in the back that caught in your hair. I was a Casper once. I had that costume. Wouldn't you know
really?
it? Wouldn't you know it? I was Casper the Friendly Ghost. Look at me now. Isn't that funny? It's true. I distinctly remember going to the Woolworths and buying it.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy. Isn't this adorable?
I love it.
It's just too much.
Brings back memories.
It's too much fun. Look. It's showing. Can you imagine where he is now? Where's this kid?
Wow.
68. Look at this. And that's what it was like too. You went out front. Dad had the camera. Look at this. Look at I can feel that scarecrow girl. I feel her. I love this kid. Love him. I wonder where he's at today. What is he doing? He's probably CEO of.
He's probably a
company.
choreographer. I'm thinking he's a choreographer somewhere.
He's got to be. Oh my goodness. Maybe on Broadway.
Yeah.
Who knows? He's a go-getter anyway. But isn't that fun? Just a little something. All right. I'm trying to get all this off. Okay. One more trip down Nostalgia Lane, and CABIN22 will roll. We're good on time. Here we go.
Gift certificate that turns into a soft drink? Oh, it can happen this Halloween. When you give out McDonald's Halloween gift certificates, kids take them to McDonald's.
When McDonald's was cool.
And get a McDonald's soft drink. A book of 20 Halloween gift certificates costs only $1.
Wow.
Right?
And can turn into
I remember
20
this.
regular soft drinks.
Crazy.
It must be the magic of Halloween.
Nobody can do it. McDonald's can.
Nobody.
Oh.
I remember this too when my
Oh.
kids were little.
Special get-together. Beware, you may never leave. Dial this number now. I've got some grisly new tales for you. And if you're one of my lucky callers selected at random, you'll talk to me live while you're awake and safe. So dial this number now if you dare. Talk to me live.
Can you imagine the kids that called, rang up the phone bill?
First minute, 35 cents each edition.
Oh my goodness. I
imagine?
probably would have.
Okay. Which type of pants do ghosts wear to trick or treat? Blue jeans. Why was the ghost arrested? Possession. Why did the ghost cross the road to get to the other side?
There you go. The possession
So
one got.
Yeah, so bad. So bad.
And I used to watch Bewitched all the time.
Me too. Never missed it.
For Halloween, Toys R Us doesn't miss a trick, and the prices are a treat. We've got
I miss
costumes for
Toys
all
R Us
Toys
so
R Us
much.
kids, even grown-ups, and loads of candy, makeup, masks, and more. Toys R Us will make your Halloween supernatural.
I love it.
This morning, Billy looked like any other boy, but as the moon rose, he turned into a werewolf. He used new Pa's Halloween makeup kits. His friends did too. Look, Mike's a vampire. Amy's a ghost. Pa's makeup is safer than masks. It never blocks vision, and it's hypoallergenic too. So watch your kids turn into the creatures they really are with new Pa's Halloween makeup kits.
I remember. Wow.
I know. Sorry about that. Boo. I have to throw a Burger Chef. Do you guys remember Burger Chef?
Yeah.
I remember 10 cents a burger, man. I do too, Aunt Edna.
And now at participating burger chefs, you can buy fun meals that now come on Halloween magic meal trays.
I'm telling you, that was a big deal. You went grocery shopping or whatever after, or before you did this after, or you had to go out and get shoes or whatever it was. Or somebody said the other night, Olin Mills. Remember Olin Mills
Yeah.
with
All
the
those
photography? Crazy
Hallmark's
shit.
ready for Halloween.
Hallmark.
And
What
you know,
happened to them?
It's the strangest thing. Everybody's wild
They were
about
so
new
cool.
scratch and sniff stickers in special trick-or-treat packages. And they're dying to take home these cuddly
How
pumpkin
precious.
bean bags. And these party decorations are so
What happened to
popular.
Hallmark?
They seem to just
Yeah, what did
disappear. So come to Hallmark,
on.
the Halloween
I
store.
know, Anna, right?
We're waiting for you.
They had the best puzzles too.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, they did. Hallmark was expensive, but it was like, it meant quality.
Yes.
That's
yes.
probably where it went. There's just no more quality, so they had to leave. We figured it out. See, we're solving crimes and stuff. Mysteries already. Look at that. Wow. I miss it. Used to get excited.
Yeah.
What do they got now? What do the kids have now?
What do they? I don't even know.
Too many different
Oh, I
choices.
do enjoy an evening
There's
with
the
a
man
little
himself.
light
The man
entertainment.
himself.
But when your video heads get dirty, you lose your picture. Not a pretty sight.
Don't
Happily,
have
this
dirty
new
heads
Polaroid
on your video
cassette will help.
cassette player.
It actually cleans your heads as it
Remember
plays,
those?
so
Wow,
dirty heads
yeah.
needn't haunt you. New
How many people
Polaroid
had kids
video
that put
cassettes.
sandwiches in their
Get the
VCR?
picture?
Raise your hand.
Oh gosh. No.
Yes.
Oh no.
I had boys.
No one believed Charlie's neighbor was a vampire.
Remember this one? Remember this one?
Until
Oh my goodness.
Fright Night.
now, Charlie
Forgot
found
about
a
that.
way to stop him.
Oh, wow. This was around the Evil Dead time when Roddy McDowell made this movie.
Yeah.
Beware of the evil that awaits you on Fright Night. Friday night it is.
That was like big doings there.
Yeah.
Hi there.
Remember that
I'm
kid?
Dumpy the Pumpkin. Carvel's
Carvel,
Halloween ice
for
cream
those
cake.
East Coast
I
people.
weigh 44 ounces
Yep.
and serve 10 to 12 people.
Yum.
Halloween party? I'm Wiki the Witch, and I weigh 45 ounces. We're both made fresh daily at your participating Carvel ice cream store.
You want to send one to a friend? Please phone 800-327-GIFT and
There it
call
is,
the cake
folks.
honors most major credit cards. Thank you.
Tom Carvel, I have to stop it. As a kid, Tom Carvel. You know, and I don't know if the people that don't know about this was East Coast, New York, Jersey, Philadelphia, you know, maybe, you know, all around in there, mostly Jersey, New York. Tom Carvel. Now I think the secret to Carvel was they had one cake mold and they would just turn it in different directions and decorate it differently. Like, you know, Fudgy the Whale. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that one. It's like for Father's Day, whale of a dad cake, you know, that kind of. Now, it used to be the thing back in the 70s and the 80s. Now, not so much. And now they're about $50 a cake. So you can't eat.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. But the trick was that each one of those, you can look at it and they'll turn the whale the other way and make it a seal. You know, Sammy the Seal, and then they'll do something else to make a clown out of it. And it's like, wait a minute, that's the same mold. That's the same mold. You know? Anyway, it's a little East Coast joke, just a little humor. But
welcome to the world of terror.
Phantasm, guys, you remember?
Bodies, which isn't often. I like to relax with some good family reading. Let me introduce you to my personal library of Fangoria, the leader in horror entertainment. What a fascinatingly hideous cover
Steve Stockton would love this.
Freddy Krueger. And devilishly candid reviews of the latest horror videos. And gloriously bloody color photos from the newest Friday the 13th. They're all here in Fangoria. Can I persuade you to subscribe?
Oh, thank you. Hard no,
This is
thank you very
Fango editor
much.
Tony Tupone asking you to enter the world of Fangoria. Only $12.49 for a special 6-month video subscription. Send check or money
growing
order
up
to
so close to New
Fangoria
York,
Magazine,
this is all I heard.
475 Park Avenue South,
kind of stuff.
New York, 10016.
Crazy Eddie. Everything was New York, New York, New York, New York.
Bodies wait.
Yeah.
Oh.
The Exorcist. Yep. That was the 70s too. That's beautiful. I must be crazy, but that's gorgeous. Is it not?
I loved it.
I remember this commercial. It's so cute. And it still works. Clever.
You're probably not going to believe this.
19 cents. Sorry, guys. Sorry about the sound jump.
The master of suspense, Stephen King, comes a tale you'll never forget. Silver Bullet, Halloween night at 8 on Movie 32.
I had to because we're doing the Dogman and the Rougarou. So I had to take a little piece of that, throw it in there because Silver Bullet, great werewolf movie.
Yeah,
great. Oh, Dixon Doe, I hope you're here. This one was inspired by Dixon Doe's request.
In the Tower of London, largest light.
You ever heard this?
The ghost of Anne Boleyn walks, they declare.
Oh, you're gonna love it.
Anne Boleyn was once King Henry's wife.
Here we go.
Until he had the axeman bob her hair. Oh yes, he did her wrong long years ago. And she comes back each night to tell him so. With her head tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody tower. With her head tucked underneath her arm at the midnight hour. She's going to find King Henry, she means giving him what for. Gets hooked, she's going to tell him off for having spilled her gore. And just in case the axeman wants to give her an encore, she's got her head tucked underneath her arm. With her head tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody tower. With her head tucked underneath her arm at the midnight
Beautiful in
hour.
there.
Along the drafty corridors, for miles and miles she goes. She sometimes catches cold, poor thing, it's cold there when it blows. And it's awfully awkward for the queen when she has to blow her nose. Oh, with her head tucked underneath her arm. Oh, with her head tucked underneath her arm. She walks the bloody tower. Oh, with her head tucked underneath her arm at the midnight hour. Now sometimes old King Henry throws a spread for all his pals and gals, the ghosts that do. The axeman carves the joints and cuts the bread. When in walks Anne Boleyn to spoil the do. She holds her head up with a wild war whoop, and Henry cries, "Don't drop it in the soup." Oh, with her head tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody tower. Oh, with her head tucked underneath her arm at the midnight hour. One day she found King Henry, he was in the castle bar. He said, "Are you Jane Seymour, Anne Boleyn, or Catherine Parr? Now the heck am I supposed to know who's who you are? You got your head tucked underneath your arm." Oh, with her head tucked underneath her arm, she walks the bloody tower. Oh, with her head tucked underneath her arm at the midnight hour.
Nice.
Is that not beautiful?
I love it.
That's a wonderful Carol Weiss, everybody, from 1981. Wow. It's just absolutely fantastic. Isn't that precious? Aww. We do Halloween, Cyn. We do Halloween.
I love it.
We spare no expense here at Journey Through the Gate. We got recipes, we got bacon, we got ghosts, we got songs, commercials. I love Dan Aykroyd, and I'll explain why I picked that for Mr. Dan. Way to kick off Halloween, gatekeepers. Who loves you, baby? There you go. All right.
Awesome.
Woo! I'll tell you what, I need some more hot water in my tea. How about you guys? All right. Cyn, are you ready? You want to?
I am.
Are you ready? Here we go. Now, this is the prequel to Cabin 22. The actual name is The Strange Case of Cabin 22 as an homage to Scooby-Doo. Nobody's getting their mask ripped off their face, but you don't know what's going to happen. So this was actually a birthday present for Mr. Steve Stockton. His birthday is on Halloween and the 31st of October every year. Strange. And and he was doing a thing on his podcast called 31 Days of Halloween. And he was, he was all about it up to about the 15th, 18th. It was getting a little rough. About in the 20s, he was like huffing and puffing. So I told him, because it's a lot to do, 31 shows, all the way up to Halloween. So I said, what can I give him for his birthday? And I said, you know what? I'm going to write a scary story out of the blue. Just make one up. And then I'll narrate it, because he was playing shows on his thing. I said, I'll narrate it. I'll put video with it, and I'll send it to him. That's his birthday gift. Take the day off. Here you go.
Wow.
Load this up. It's for you. And he put it up, and people loved it. Said, man, that sounds like it could have more to that story. So then he challenged me. He said, I bet you can't write a story that's got everything about Halloween in it. Have it make sense. And put it out there. So that I did every single chapter. Like, that was my homage to Charles Dickens, one of my favorite authors, because he did those serial novellas. And he would just release a chapter at a time, your kind of original cliffhanger kind of thing. And then Stephen King did it with Green Mile. And that made it was interesting to get those little bits and those chapters throughout the Green Mile, and which I thought was one of the few, I think, that translated from book to movie very well. That one, just, for anybody keeping score. So what you're about to see is a short beginning to this that kicked off the whole novella. And this one is called The Cabin. This is when I was just getting started. Yes, I do all the voices. It's hysterical, and I hope you enjoy it. Turn it up here. Here we go. Now these cabins, they actually exist. These little cabins up on this mountain. A lot of this story is kind of true.
On a fall day in 2001, I thought it a wonderful idea to rent one of those log cabins out on Montesano Mountain in Alabama. It would be perfect and reasonably priced for a long week with my 2 sons. Most all had windows offering a stunning view, and a tree-covered mountain valley and its colored quilt of leaves would be a breathtaking sight. The porches off the back of the cabins had barbecue grills, and the thought of grilling burgers and watching the sun slip behind the hills would be lovely. The decision was made for the long walks on the trails and time together, and the day arrived to much excitement, and we entered the cabin, number 22. There was a small kitchen, and 2 bedrooms were off the spacious living room. The boys tossed their sleeping bags on the cots and ran back outside and explored the area. We enjoyed the trails and had our first barbecue and settled in exhausted for our first night. I could hear off in the distance an approaching storm was announcing its arrival. I got up to check the door and look outside the huge picture window at the scene of the lightning just starting to streak the sky. It was beautiful. I went back to bed and laid awake as the claps of thunder exploded in the distance and bursts of lightning lit up the bedroom. Soon I drifted off to sleep. And then I remember a terrible nightmare, so vivid that I swore I was awake. And it took the very breath from me. I was in the same bed. My heart was pounding against my chest, and I was drenched in sweat. I was pinned to the bed by an invisible force. And I could see the empty room with each flash of lightning, yet I could not move. Not my hands, not my feet, not my head, just my eyes. And I scanned around the room to look for this invisible force that was holding me down. Or was it just fear? Flash! The lightning lit up the room, and I knew instinctively I was not alone. As if to echo the thought, thunk! A wet thud at the foot of the bed trapped my heart in its grip as I stayed there, helpless. Thunk! This time I almost felt the bang at the foot of the bed vibrating on the floor. It sounded huge, and somehow wet is the only way that I can describe it. The thought that this was a dream went through my head, and I remember saying to myself, "Wake up, wake up, wake up." But I was still there, trapped in that bed. I squeezed my eyes closed, and I said a prayer over and over and over in my head. Thump! An invisible something punched at the bottom of the bed, right between my feet. My eyes flashed open, and nothing was there. Thump! A wet, dragging sound that seemed to move away, and I stretched my vision as far as I could see. What was making this noise? "Oh, just wake up already," I said to myself, and what I hoped was an empty room. In the lightning's flash, I saw something in the corner, by the door, huge and black, almost like a shapeless gooey blob. It slithered out the door and took a turn towards my son's room. Flash! The lightning went off, and I saw that it was gone. I heard a thud, but it was further away. And in the dream, it ended. I woke up, startled into new surroundings, and the sun was just coming through the window. I quickly sat up. I was soaked with sweat, surveyed around the room to get my bearings. Oh, wiped my hand over my head. Oh, it was just a dream. I leaned forward toward the end of the bed, just looking for anything that might be out of place there. Oh, phew, nothing. You're losing it, girl, I told myself. That was a humdinger of a dream. I shook it off, and I got up and quick ran and checked on the boys who were asleep. One had fallen asleep with the flashlight on, and I clicked it off, and I pulled the sleeping bag up around him. I quick got dressed, and I made some coffee and a little breakfast. When the boys got up, the bustle started. Talk about the wicked storm floated over the smell of pancakes and bacon. Smiling, I asked them if they were ready to take on the blue trail, the one that goes down and round the side of the mountain today. The trails all had color names, and Big Blue, as they called it, was a favorite. I guess, said my little one, I didn't get much sleep. An odd feeling hit me when he said this, and I clutched my coffee cup a little harder. Oh, I answered. Why is that? I was up all night. Something was in my room, and nobody would wake up or answer me when I yelled. I didn't hear you. Mom, I screamed loud. I swear I saw it with my flashlight. Something big and black, like a huge garbage bag filled with goo. Oh, you're just dreaming, you goof, said my older son as he kind of punched him in the arm. Well, it was loud, and it hit my bed, and it banged on the floor, and it smelled bad, too. For reasons only boys know, they both laughed at this. I was nowhere near laughter. My head spun with the realization my dream was a living nightmare, but I didn't want to scare them. I held it together, and I told them I was going to see if Mr. McGee, the cabin manager, and I was going to ask him if he had a larger cabin. And the stove wasn't working that good, so pack up your stuff, and we'll go see him before we hit the trails. They finished with a chorus of, "Oh, Mom," with mouths full of pancakes. I tried my best to shudder from the inside out as I continuously scanned the room over my coffee cup. Down at the big log cabin manager's office, I left the boys out front in the car. They were punching each other and laughing, which was a normal I was okay with right now. "Hey, Mrs. Harper, how's the stay?" Came a voice from behind the big bear statue that was carved with a chainsaw by no other than the owner of this voice.
Happens all the time.
Mr. McGee. It's okay. I tried to start off positive. The view is lovely. He smiled as he came from behind the counter and the bear. I ordered it just for you, he joked. I laughed a little and asked him if we could move to another cabin. Why, sure. I have one further down the path. That be okay? Yes, I will take it, and handed him the key. Is there anything wrong with this one? As he reached out and took the key from my hand. No, not really. It is lovely. Just some banging and sounds all night. Oh, well, must be some raccoons up in the roof space. I'll have to take a look into that. Been a while since I rented that one. I had a long boarder there for, stayed almost a year. Old Bob. Poor guy loved to fish down at the lake. One day, poor guy, he lost his footing and fell in. Hit his head on one of those rocks and drowned. Awful thing. About a month or so back. Took them a while to find him, too. When they pulled him out, he was darn near all black with that river moss. My eyes widened as he handed me the key. Will you be staying long?
Wow, nice.
That's cute. Isn't it cute? So the thing is I took my this place exists, Montesano Mountain.
Yeah,
The
when
Blue
you said
Trail.
it, I was like, that's 30 minutes from me.
I know. Been there, done that. It's a beautiful place. Listen, other than that, the names have been changed to protect the innocent, I assure you. So the thing is some of these characters, of course, are melted into a couple of people that I knew, and they have characteristics of some people I know. I'm a mom of 2 sons, this is what, they're punching each other in the arm and getting maple syrup on each other and chasing each other around the room. Now, this is Joan and her 2 sons. So what we know, and this was the original story that I wrote and just sent it off. What the next part you're going to hear is Dave Weaver. This is the young man who's moving from New York, just getting out of divorce, moving to Huntsville, Alabama. He's got a job, changing his whole life over. And that's where it picks up. And he's headed up to these cabins because he's got himself a little 2-week vacation. And he thinks he's going to have himself a relaxing time fishing with his dog Rage and just chilling out on the mountain. What could go wrong? Well, he's forgotten because he's so tangled up in his life right now that it's Halloween. And I don't think it would matter much to a man, coming out of New York, Halloween, what is that for kids, right? He forgets that deep down in the South, they take things a little bit more serious in the supernatural department, and they pay attention, don't they, Cyn?
Yes, they do.
Yep. So you're in for one heck of a ride. Now, keep in mind, I get a little better at this. That was my first shot. That was the first take, plain and simple. This thing, you'll see, it kind of takes on a life of its own going forward. So every once in a while, I'm going to get up and get some hot water for my tea. Please feel free to do the same. And I hope you can hear it when you walk away. But if you need me to cut it off, take a break, believe me, I can tell a ghost story or something. So I just don't want you to miss it if you want to hear it. Okay?
I don't want to miss it.
It's going to be. Here we go, folks. I think this is the right one. Make sure. Yep. Here we go.
The Strange Case of Cabin 22.
Thank you, Catheta.
Dave took the turns on the mountain road slow. He just passed a sign that read, "Beware of falling rock." What did that even mean? What are you supposed to do if rocks start falling out of the sky while you're driving? That would be just about right to finish off this week. He said out loud to nothing, and he finished the thought in his head. Man crushed by rock. Misses divorce hearing. Widow gets dog. As far as Dave was concerned, his buddy Rage, a large black shepherd, was his most valuable possession. He reached up and adjusted the rearview mirror to look into the back seat at his sleeping friend, and spoke out loud again. "No worries. She can have the house, but she's not getting you. We're almost there, buddy." And Rage seemed to react to this in a positive way, and sat up, tongue gleefully hanging out of the side of his mouth, wide awake and alert to his friend's voice. Dave Weaver was joining the ranks of the unaffected husband, soon to be bachelor squad. Odd how you can grow so apart from a spouse that the space between you grows past the point of caring and does a deadfall into just make it over territory. This 2-week trip proved to be a lifesaver into this mountain majesty of Montesano Mountain's beauty and solitude was just what he needed. He had rented a cabin there, and Mr. McGee, the owner of the property, said there was good fishing, even late into the fall, and the scenery was a healing in a way. And added this southern beauty, "You just come on up and leave your troubles and ex-wife down in the valley. Bless her heart. Ex-wife. He thought out loud. Gotta get used to that one, Rage. Rage, reacting again to his comment, moved into the passenger seat and stuck his head out of the window. Dave patted him on the back and thought to himself, he filled that position just fine. They made their way up the winding road and toward the cabins. Dave found the turnoff sign that said Montesano Lodge and Cabins. A little way up the road, he passed a sign to his left that said, to RV Park, turn here. And remember, he was told to pass that one. On up the road a piece, you'll see the sign for the cabins. And he did. He could see the clearing and the large building up ahead and pulled up to the manager's office. A large cabin lodge with a sign that hung on one side of what looked like a little general store. It swung from the green metal roof and declared, fresh biscuits every morning. It actually had apostrophes in the place of the E in every and the G in morning. He was getting used to this southern charm and loved that it was freely offered in conversation unapologetically. And in his state of mind leaving the city rush of New York, he just loved it. He had taken a new job in Huntsville and had a month to shake off his past and start new. He pulled up to the other end of the beautifully built lodge. The pecan-colored logs with gray-looking cement between each one looked like it was built by the hands of Paul Bunyan himself, and he laughed at that thought. Guess I have to brush up on my southern legends, boy. He smiled and ruffed the fur of the dog's head. Stay here. I will be just a minute. He walked up to the door that was bookended by a 6-foot Indian chief carved out of a log, offering him a red and white peppermint candy with one outstretched hand. Odd combo, he thought. On the other side, a totem pole, just as high, with 4 faces carved into the wood, one each more grotesque than the other. Nice work, he said to it out loud and gave it a nod as he walked through the door to the office. A little bell above tinged at the opening and closing of the door. The theme continued in here with huge carving.
Thank you, Aunt Edna. We love you, baby.
In a quaint lobby with a picture of Indians on its endless ride into a battle long over. Another on the side wall covered a cozy-looking teepee by a lake with a glow from inside that seemed so nice right about now, and a large oil painting of an Indian chief over a brown leather couch. He saw no one behind the counter and called out, Mr. McGee? He heard a rustle from the wall behind the big bear. Mrs., you must be Mr. Weaver from the big city. An older woman emerged into the view, and Dave smiled.
Love you, baby,
he joked. She was one of the most comfortably put together people he had ever seen. She wore a dress of blue with a white flower print, short curly gray hair, and naturally pink cheeks under the bluest eyes framed by little gold-rimmed glasses. She transferred her knitting into one hand and extended the other toward him, and he shook it. I'm Mrs. McGee. Mr. McGee is out back putting the finishing touches on my eagle. Your eagle? He asked as he smiled. He just loved her demeanor. Oh, yes. He's always carving with that noisemaker of his. I bet him one of my strawberry rhubarb pies he couldn't make me an eagle. Dave laughed at this a bit. He was starting to understand. Looks like I'm going to be doing some extra baking. It's coming along right good. They both chuckled at this. Well, you don't need to stand here jawing your day away with me. You'll be wanting your key and getting to the fishing.
Thank you, Sapphire.
You got your dog with you.
Love
Mr.
you,
McGee says you got a buddy with you. Startled a bit at this, he thought it was okay and said, yes, Rage, he's in the car. That okay? He had hoped. Oh, sure. She waved a hand in a forget-about-it gesture. "We love pets. You catch up after him, and don't let him bother the other guests or chase my cat Fritz there, and we won't have no problems." She gestured toward a tall bookcase where a large, beautiful black Persian cat laid on the very top of it. It was staring right at him with green eyes.
Black cat, Halloween, black cat.
It flitted its tail as if to say to Dave, "That's right. Don't start none, won't be none." And Dave laughed. "He is very well behaved, ma'am." "Good.
So cat.
Glad to hear it.
Cat.
Plenty of wide open space for him to run round here. You both will enjoy your stay. 2 weeks, is it?" Yes, ma'am. 2 weeks. Gonna relax, do some reading, and of course some fishing." "Well, good place for it. There's fresh bait every day in the vending machine. Worms, mostly."
"It's true."
"The vending machine?" he asked, never hearing of such a thing.
True.
"A worm machine?" And just smiled. "Yup, Mr. McGee sells chicken livers in the storefront cooler, but I'm not letting those worms in my shop. Machine's round back, takes quarters, or you can dig your own." He did chuckle out loud at
Don't
this
you love her?
as she pushed an index card and a pen toward him and turned around to a board with gold hooks and keys hanging from it. "Just put your address, phone, license plate number, and the dates you're staying on the card. Of course, your name, too. I'll be needing your driver's license as well. Keep it legal-like." "You're all paid up," Mr. McGee said. He shook his head at the simple check-in and thought he could get used to this trusting thing. How quaint it all was, and started to fill out the card. "There's a small fridge in the cabin and some sundries in the shop. I try to keep hot dogs and fresh hamburger meat, and there are always fresh pies and biscuits and sausage in the mornings if you have the need. My canned goods, too. If you go hungry round here, it'll be your own fault, Mr. Weaver." You can call me Dave." He smiled. "And you can call me Mrs. McGee." She smiled and placed the key on the card, and he had just finished. The key read number 22, faded gold print. "It is down the path to the right. You won't have a problem finding it. Shop closes at 10 p.m. sharp. But if you find the need, Mr. McGee is usually up at his fire pit out back. If you see the smoke, he's there, and he can get what you need. But don't make it a habit." She smiled. Ding! A sound went off behind her from an unseen room. "There's my pies. Fresh apple and pecan today, Mr. Dave." He took a deep breath in. He could smell the apple pie, and it warmed his heart. Funny how smells could do that. Ting, ting! A different bell behind him. The doorbell, so to speak. A large man in overalls and faded red T-shirt darkened the door with his sighs. "I finished that sink faucet, Mrs. McGee." "Well, thank you, Tater," she smiled. "There's a loose board on the front porch of 11 and a bad hinge on the screen door of number 3, if you'd be so kind." "Sure thing," he offered as she took down the keys to those cabin numbers. Tater, oh, these names, Dave thought, almost shuffled, head down, as he put one key down on the counter that had a 22 on it, and picked up the other 2 keys. "Right on it, Mrs. Elm." And he shuffled out as slowly as he came in, never even looking at Dave, leaving the tinging bell behind him. "Whoa, he's a big guy," Dave said almost without realizing it. "Oh, yes. Tater's heart is as big as he is. Tater Daniels. He's our caretaker. Lives out in the cabin behind a lodge. Known him and his family, for years," she offered, and then swatted a hand in his direction. "But you don't need to bother with all that. You need to get on to your fishing, and I need to get to my pies."
Oh, wow.
He thanked her and tinged the bell on his exit.
Thank you, Vixen. Love you, baby.
Oh, Dave. He stopped at her voice and turned around. You're not one of those jittery city people, are you? He had no idea what she meant, and his face probably said so, because she finished with this. I mean, the woods out here. They have some scary sounds you may not be used to. Things go bump in the night around here. She laughed at this a bit, like it was a joke, and he smiled. Don't you get caught up in all that gossip either. Ain't nothing in my cabins or these woods that God himself didn't put here. You'd be wise to remember that, Dave. This seemed odd to him, but he thanked her and gave her a little wave and a nod as he went out the door. Without even thinking, he took a peppermint from the Indian's outstretched hand and said, thanks, to the statue. Getting in the car, he was greeted by Rage, who amused himself at his absence by watching a taunting squirrel in a nearby tree. Hey, boy, he said, getting in, and chuckled at the thought of Rage having some fun here, too, chasing squirrels and rabbits on the trails he had read about, and pet the dog as he moved back over to the pasture side. You get to have all the fun you want, I'm told. Just leave that cat in there alone. That one looks like trouble. He laughed as he unwrapped the peppermint. His waiting friend started to actually drool a bit, watching him. Rage loved candy, of all kinds, and he palmed the mint and offered it to his friend. Here you go, boy. We're on vacation. All diets are off. Rage ate it with 2 crunches, and they drove down the dirt road toward the cabins. Dave parked to the side of the little cabin, set far off the road. It almost looked like it hung on a cliffside of the mountain. The scene was breathtaking. There was a little roofed porch with a pile of firewood on one side, and yes, a rocking chair too. Log handmade railings surrounded the porch, and a screen door in faded green paint, a gold number 22 at its right. A lantern hung on a black wrought iron hook above it. Kerosene, he thought, and marveled at the cabin's simple elegance. Let's go in and see, boy, he said to Rage as they both got out of the car. Rage ran right up to the tree in the very front of the yard and took a long pee on it. Well, it's official, Dave said. It's ours now. And he laughed. He took the key out of his jeans pocket and walked up to the screen door, opened it, and inserted the key into the old lock on the door. It stuck a bit, and he quick pulled back his hand from the knob. Had it just turned in his hand? Don't be silly, he thought, as he reached for it again, jiggled the key, and it gave way. He opened the front door to the huge room. Come on, boy. Rage ran past him into the room and started sniffing everything in his sight. There was a large brown leather sofa, complete with knitted afghan he was sure was handmade by Mrs. McGee. A huge fireplace with an iron hook inside for heating up pot full of stew, he surmised. There was 2 small rooms to his right, bedrooms, he guessed, and the bathroom, called a half bath by Mr. McGee on the phone call they had had. Showers are down by the lodge. 4 stalls in there, hot as water on the mountain. Open all night if you choose, but there's a commode in the cabin, running water, gas stove in the kitchen, but no electric. Kerosene lanterns are provided, and a barbecue on the back porch runs on propane. There's a small fridge I run on a gas generator out back. I'll turn that on and get her cold for you before you stay. All that was just fine with Dave, and 0 phone service out here was okay with him too. He had talked enough with lawyers and his soon-to-be ex for a while, and remembered There's a landline in the office if need arises. Also part of his conversation with the soft-spoken owner of this gorgeous property. The picture window in the back of the cabin overtook his vision. The view was breathtaking, and he started toward it to get a better look. He walked right into an invisible cloud of stench. The smell that overtook his nostrils was overwhelming. It was a thick smell of death and decay, mixed with a wet, mucky odor. "Whoa," he said as he reached back behind him to reopen the door and get some air in there. "Oh, must have been closed up for a while," he said to Rage as the dog emerged from the back room and sat down by the fireplace. "You see a dead squirrel in there? Oh, man, that's bad." He moved toward the window, holding his nose, and looked to see which one opened. He found two smaller ones on the sides of the big picture window that did just that. He dropped his gym bag and he threw them open to their screens. A lovely mountain's fresh air poured in, and he took a deep breath. "Gonna be a bit to get that stench out," he said to Rage, who was now on the couch, seeming to pick out his favorite spots in their new digs. Dave leaned on the windowsill to breathe in again. As he did, he looked into the tiny kitchen with its small gas stove and tiny fridge on the counter, running as promised. The cabinets matched the wood grain paneling throughout the cabin's decor. There were many of them compared to the size of the kitchen, and every one of them had its doors wide open. The provided pots and pans spilled out onto the floor, and there were plastic cups on the counter and silverware spread all over its surface, and the matching drawers hung open and yawned out dish towels like tongues from wooden mouths. Some welcome, Dave thought, and he remembered the key Tater turned in at the office. It said 22. Man, he had just left here. And he fixed the sink faucet, he said. Why would he leave it like this? He questioned out loud to Rage, that was now in one chair in the room and looking out the window. Some view, huh, buddy? And this made Dave smile. He quick picked up the pans and threw them into the cabinets and swished the cups and eating utensils into the small sink with his arm. I'll be washing those, he said, and finished closing the drawers and cabinets, opened the fridge, and stuck his hand in it. And it was cold. All good there, he mused. Hey, boy, you hungry? He called to the dog, still looking out the window. The mountain's trees were filled with fall's colors, and Rage would love this, he thought, as much as he would. The last bit of work ahead was to unload the truck. He thought now about the few groceries he had quickly grabbed before the ride up. Rage's favorite canned food, one of the 5 cases now filling the back of his SUV. The other 4 cases were Boston Lager, and he planned on drinking every single one of them. Come on, boy. Let's go get some air. Stay close. We will go run later. With the moves of a dog that understood every word Dave said, and there really was no proof that he didn't really, Rage jumped down and headed toward the door.
Love
and they
Rage.
both headed to unload the truck. Staring at the contents of the truck, Dave was actually winding down a bit, he felt, and thought he'd not rush this. He was on vacation, after all. The things he packed were minimal. All of his real belongings in a storage unit closer to his new job down in Huntsville. What he had here was Dave's vacation gear. 2 fishing poles, a tackle box, a pair of heavy boots, a down coat, his gym bag with a few jeans, t-shirts, a flannel shirt or 2, several pairs of those boxers his ex-wife, hated, and shaving and other toiletries. He touched his face and thought, hell, I may not even shave for a while. What you think, boy? He looked at Rage, who was laying on the dirt drive, chewing on a pine cone between his paws. Oh, man, don't eat that. He reached down. Give it here, boy. And Rage stood up and seemed to look past him. A slight growl came from his throat. Dave quick slipped a hand under his collar instinctively and looked in the direction that had Rage's focus. "What do you see, boy?" And Dave caught a glimpse of a large black mist floating just above the ground, coming from behind the cabin and moving into the tree line. He stretched to see it as it faded into the deeper thickness of the woods and out of sight. "What the hell?" Rage just growled, a longer disapproving thought all his own in response. "I know, buddy, right? I don't like it either. Smoke from a barbecue, maybe? A swarm of flies?" Dave had no idea, really, and said so. "I don't know, but we'll stay away from it, okay, buddy?" Rage's tail wagged a bit now, and he let go the collar as he said, "Let's eat." He turned to the truck now to decide what to bring in. The bag of steaks, canned beans, and coffee he brought. For sure, the case of Royal Canin beef for shepherds. Stuff costs more than the steaks, he thought, and smiled.
It's true.
And a case of beer. "Come on, boy, let's fire up that grill." Rage trotted off toward the front door, and Dave gave a glancing look toward the tree line, and it gave him an uneasy feeling. He wasn't one to jump to conclusions, but he was up here all alone, really, and just then he was glad he had brought that 12 gauge, and he was even happier right now about the beer. The steak smelled great, a damn sight better than it did in the cabin for sure. The beer was warm, but he put some to chill in the fridge, and it was just fine for now. Rage ate his canned beef without chewing it, it seemed, and he knew what he had set his sights on was that T-bone he was promised on the road on the way up. Yep. It never ceased to amaze him how damn smart this dog was. Dave smiled as he flipped one of the steaks over and asked his buddy, "How would you like your steak, sir? Medium? Medium rare?" Dave smiled at the look on Rage's face when he turned it up to look at him. His ears perked up, and his eyes seemed to sparkle. "Ha! Rare it is, monsieur." He laughed at this. He was feeling better, and you can best bet he bought Rage a T-bone. Bought several of them. This dog and this move was saving his life, he felt. And I'd rather have the money go to what he wanted for a change. His wife was getting plenty. She had seemed to go batshit crazy after speaking to that ambulance-chasing lawyer of hers, and he was hurt, really. "You want anything else, buddy? A Porsche, maybe?" Rage just tossed his head to one side, as if to say, "Can I?" Dave chuckled and finished off the beer, and leaned it against the railing that rounded the whole back porch. "One down," he said, and reached out to open the screen door. A large thud seemed to come from inside the cabin, and Dave threw open the door, and they both ran in, thinking the darn roof fell in. What the? Dave stood with his hand on his forehead, looking around the large room. Nothing, he thought. Nothing? He checked the other rooms. The simple cots and old dressers in each room were all intact. Not a thing out of place. And he went to the front porch and looked all around. That sounded like an elephant came through the roof, buddy. But Rage hadn't followed him outside, and he quick ran up the walk and into the cabin to make sure all was okay. "Rage!" he called out, and he heard his bark from one of the back rooms. He ran in that direction, and Rage was there, about 3 feet from the back corner of the room, his hair standing up on the back of his neck, leaning forward in a growl mixed with barks, meaning he didn't like what he was seeing. "Rage? What's there?" As if the dog could explain, Rage just kept on with his protest as he backed up between that corner and Dave. In a lower voice now, "What's there, boy? What do you see?" As if to signal it was gone, Rage just sat down at his feet and started to pant, his tongue leaning out one side, saying, whatever it was gone. "What the hell, man?" Dave said aloud as he walked toward the corner and touched the wall. He didn't know what to expect, but he did it anyway. It was ice cold. Oh, Dave shook this off. Just an eerie, chilling, goosebump-raising feeling went through his body all at once, and he quick pulled his hand away. Come on, boy. That's enough of that. Steak! He said the last with a guttural humor, like a primal man speak, for red meat eaters. Rage understood, and off they went. Dave paused just a second before returning to the barbecue on the porch, grabbed a colder beer from the fridge, and realized the smell. It was completely gone. 4 beers later, and full stomachs to boot, the pair enjoyed the descending sun beyond the waterfall of trees in the distance. Rage chewing on what was left of his bone, and Dave halfway through a chapter of one of his new books. He had grabbed several at the Target when he bought the steaks. This one on a whim that seemed to fit his mood. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F by Mark Manson. He had laughed when he saw the title and grabbed it with his usual thriller crime novels. It was turning out to be a self-help, life coaching thing, and not too bad. But he thought he'd finish the night with Grisham's The Whistler. He had heard a rustling off the porch, somewhere in the deep leaves below, and he took his feet down off the railing and looked down. He saw a deer jumping through off to the wood and thought it had been a long time since he had seen one. He was never into hunting. Fishing was as far as it went for Dave, and he and Rage watched it as it disappeared into the deep woods. It was almost dizzying to look down off the porch. It had been built to jut off the edge of the rock on the mountain for a full effect of the scenery there, and it worked for sure. But looking down, it made Dave think twice on trusting that railing, and he backed up off it quick and shuddered at the thought of taking an unwanted dive off of it. Okay, boy, I'm getting the rest of my stuff out of the truck. You want to pee? He went into the cabin, and Dave thought for a second, reached into his gym bag, and got out a long black leash, and Rage just gave him a look. I know, buddy, but if you start running after a deer out here, I won't find you in the dark. And he clipped it on Rage's collar, and off they went. He grabbed the shotgun he had wrapped in a sleeping bag, and threw another canvas bag over his shoulder. He had got him an old coffee kettle to use on the stove, and he drank it black, so that's all the morning start he needed. Rage's favorite water bowl was in there, with a couple of flashlights, batteries, and his old transistor radio. Some snacks and other stuff he grabbed. Okay, boy, the other stuff can wait till morning. And he locked the truck. Walking up to the cabin, he heard a scream. A loud, blood-curdling one. Rage heard it too. It sounded like it came from down the path toward the number 20 and number 19 cabin spots. Again it came, now sounding like it was further up the path, toward the number 24 and 25 spots. What in the world is happening around here? He said to the air. He had heard some birds out here can sound like someone screaming. Red foxes, too. Man, it had to be to move like that, he thought. Eerie, just the same. Sure sounded like a scream, he said to Rage. As they reached the porch, he heard it again, behind them now. They both hurried in the door and locked it. He leaned against the door for a moment. What in the hell was that? He dropped the bag and unrolled the 12-gauge on the counter, located the box of shells from his gym bag, and loaded it. While doing so, he remembered Mrs. McGee's words. The woods out here have some scary sounds you may not be used to. Things go bump in the night around here. Huh, I guess so. Gonna be a hell of a night, boy, Dave said, and Rage looked up. It's okay, though. We have Dad's old Betty and each other. What could get us here? All three of them settled onto the couch. Dave, Rage, and the 12 gauge. After making a roaring fire, and still very full from the steaks they had, they enjoyed sharing the pork rinds anyway. The new Grisham novel in hand, all seemed to feel a little bit better now. The warm fire and the crackling fireplace just felt right. The couch was comfy, and Rage was full and happy, and satisfied with taking one for every 2 pork rinds that Dave ate. And neither one of them noticed the face staring at them from the window off the back porch.
We got it all, Cyn.
You have been listening to The Strange Case of Captain 22. Stay tuned for part 2. Will Dave and Rage finally realize there is a strange face peering at them from the back porch? A porch that hangs a feet above the side of a mountain. Will the odd events continue in a little cozy hideaway? What will Dave find out about the odd occurrences in the little cabin village he has booked his stay in? Were the screams he and Rage heard just a fox, or is there more going on under the fall canopy of these woods? Tune in and find out.
Just throw it all in. All of it.
Wow.
How about that?
Nice. I was gonna say, they were talking about the different animals. Cougars can too.
Yep, but you don't
Just
know.
like
Is that what he heard? Was that what he was hearing, or was it something else?
What? Yeah.
What was the black mass that mist? He wasn't real sure what he was seeing coming from behind the cabin. What was that? That's kind of
really
weird.
bad smell.
That smelled like decay and musty. And then the wind, the where Rage was looking at the corner and barking, and the hair standing up, and then it went away. So he sat down, and then Dave touched it. It was ice cold. He got this creepy feeling, and then the smell when it was gone. So,
but then the screaming started going down the path.
All over
the other one. Yeah.
And then now he sees the deer, so he gets up, he's making the steaks, he gets up, he looks down, and that's when he realizes the way these cabins, some of them are, the porch juts out over the cliff. So when you look down, you're looking down a cliff into the rocks. Montana is very rocky. I mean, the most beautiful rocks, because it's a dark gray. They're really pretty. And you can look down, you can see the wood line going around and curving, and deer running down there. And he just saw that deer go, and he knows how far up they are. So what was on that porch? What's on the porch looking in the window? And Rage sees it. Dave has kind of got his back to it, and he's looking at the dog. We don't know. We don't know what it is yet. What do you think, Cyn? Don't you love Mrs. McGee?
I do love her. I think I've met her several times.
I know. It's like a combination of people that you just meet there that are just like, they're not having it.
I might even have her in my family.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Tater is, so far, we don't know a lot about Tater, but you can just tell from him coming in the door. And yes, Mrs. McGee. He is a combination. If you remember the show Bonanza, he is a combination of Hoss and Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Eeyore that keeps...
Eeyore.
He keeps
Eeyore
losing his
was always
tail.
my favorite. Yes, he was
keeps
my
losing
favorite.
his tail. But you know how, yes, Pooh,
Yes.
I know. Okay. And he's just going about his business. He's just going about, but you're not sure about Tater yet. You just know he's really big, and he's lumber, and he's the caretaker, and Miss McGee, the McGees have known him all his life. I mean, his heart's bigger than he is, I mean, that's just the way they see him. And just trust it, go fix here's a couple more cabins. You can go, okay, Mrs. McGee, off he goes with his tail. And Dave
Right.
has no idea what he's getting into. He's so preoccupied, that long drive from New York with his dog, and he's coming away for all these lawyer calls, and he just wants to fish. The poor man just wants to fish, have his coffee, have a steak, read his books, you know.
But he walks in and the cabinet doors are open and the drawers are open. Everything's on the floor. Now he's got to wash dishes.
Tater. And he just left there. Why would he?
Yeah.
He said he fixed the sink. He saw the key put on, because that's the one that, you know, Mrs. McGee gave him, put him up in the hook and gave him the key. And he knows he just left. Why would he knock all the pots and pans on the, you know, what's going on? So now he's got all of that going on. So what do you think's going on, guys? You know, who do you think? Something, isn't it? You guys are going to love Rage. Rage is the star of this whole novel.
I think we love Rage already.
Yeah, he's a trip. I got to get some hot water. Do you need a drink? We got just a little bit left. And, you know, like I said, if you got to go, I know it's late. I don't know what you got going on, but you're welcome. No. Either way, but we're almost done. We're doing, that was chapter 1 and the prequel. So now Dave is just basically being immersed slowly in this world that's going on in Montesano. Now I will tell you this, a lot of these places exist, and Cyn can, you know, she can back me up on this. You're going to hear about a dead children's playground that exists. There is a dead children's playground right by the Maple Hill Cemetery. You'll hear that. You'll hear several other places. All I did was move everything closer together. You know what I mean? So we could have it all in the same mountain. But, you know, these people are amazing. And Mr. McGee, Mrs. McGee, you're going to love them. And they're just no nonsense running this little lodge. This, you know, they've got everything down. They've got a worm machine that exists. Trust me. Does it not? Yes. For bait, bait vending. You know, and just the signs and the way everything is. It's almost like when Dave was going around that mountain road, he was leaving everything he knew behind, what he thought he knew that was structured in his world. His world's about to get flipped upside down, inside out, sideways. And he's not even been there a day yet. And the doorknob turned when he tried to open the door. That, you know, the smell, everything that's happened, all these little subtle things that tell you that something's going on there. So you ready? I'm going to go to the next. I'm going to get some hot water. So if you don't see me, I'm here. I'm just getting some tea and stuff. Okay, guys? So go ahead and fire up your bacon popcorn or whatever. And all those recipes, I will put links to them. And, you know, basically it's videos, guy. Believe me, I had to look them up. But there'll be the description. In the description, there'll be links to those. And to Cyn's site and to her books. And again, if you want to have a great Halloween and you want to throw all this together, get one of her books on Kindle that's got the short ghost stories, scary stories in it. What's the title of the last one that just came out again?
The last one, the newest one is Realm of Shadows. True ghost stories and eerie tales.
There you go. And Kindle, that's, you know, real quick. You'll have it instantly and you could read it there or, you know, get the paperback or whatever. I just don't think you'll have it by Halloween. So, and then you'll have this to carry you through the week. Because I guarantee, guys, as this gets going, all hell about to break loose on this mountain. I'm just telling you. Absolutely. It's going to happen. Here we go. Quite literally, I might say. Isn't it great? I mean, it's different, isn't it?
I love it.
There you go, guys. Cyn's link. Thank you, mods.
The Strange Case of Cabin 22. Part 2.
Don't you want to go there?
Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Of The Whistler. This really was turning out to be a good book, he thought, and he reached into the bag for a pork rind, almost made it halfway to his mouth, and thought he had lost count on the 2 for me and 1 for Rage's share. Sorry, boy. Here you go. He extended the snack toward his buddy and looked over the book towards Rage. He noticed a look he had seen before, and he slowly lowered the book and connected look to look with the dog. He gave a quick chin-up motion to Rage, a signal they both knew as a "what's up?" He also almost mindlessly dropped the pork rind and slowly started to reach for the 12-gauge lying to his right along the back of the couch. Rage was slowly gesturing with his eyes to behind Dave, back at Dave, then behind him to Dave's right again. Dave understood. Slowly he held up his left hand, palm out, to a hold position, and Rage did just that. The dog went into full on-duty mode and locked his eyes on whatever he saw behind Dave. Dave reached the shotgun and in one moment rolled off the couch onto his knees and had the 12-gauge pointed at the same direction. Rage followed suit and took his position by his friend's side, paused forward and locked in. "Go, boy," he whispered, and Rage took off full tilt boogie toward the large picture window. Silent but deadly, Dave caught a glimpse of a large, dark figure pulling away from the glass and back off onto the porch. "Let him have it, Rage." The dog burst into a barking, growling warning that probably meant, "That's right, you son of a bitch, run!" Dave went to the door, opened it with one hand, and the 12-gauge pointed, and kicked the screen door. It banged against the back of the cabin, and Rage ran out barking and sniffing at the window, followed the scent down the porch floor, and directly to the railing on the back end of the porch. Dave followed the direction of his partner with the weapon, slowly moved toward the railing Rage was inhaling, and stared into the nothingness. My God, he thought, covering his left and right, down and then back again, with his gaze and the business end of the 12-gauge. Where'd he go, boy? Rage was silent and acting like he lost the scent. His head poked through the railing and looked down. Dave stopped for a second and listened. No anything. No rustle of leaves. No sounds of any kind, except an owl off in the distance. Dave looked down as far as the moonlight would offer and saw nothing. Easing the weapon to his side, he pet his friend's head, and they both just stood there in silence a moment. He had seen something big, something dark in that window. He glanced back now, doing his best to calculate the size. It had filled in the better part of the center of that huge picture window, he thought, and almost clear to its top. 6'4", 6'5", maybe? And wide. But the drop-off this porch was pretty damn steep and loaded with nature's security alarm, dried leaves. He moved to the side and looked down. Even here, there was nowhere to silently climb up. Hold, boy. And Rage sat. On duty for sure now. Dave quick went inside, grabbed up the mag light he had brought, and put it in his back pocket, and grabbed the large Coleman spotlight he had. He joined Rage, and together they watched the light as it illuminated the trees and surrounding area. Nothing, not a damn thing. Just the darn owl off in the distance again. What the hell? Okay, boy, inside. They both went in, and Rage went back to the inside window, sniffing. Seemed like he was trying his best to figure out this too. Stay here, boy. I got this next part. Gonna go look around. He in no way wanted Rage to run after this, whatever it was, and spend the night chasing after them both. He slowly walked around the perimeter of the little cabin. When he went as far as he could onto the porch, he quick turned on the light. He held with the aim of the gun, directed at what he could see under the balcony of the porch. Rocks, sticks, of course leaves, and 2 Pabst Blue Ribbon cans faded with time. Slobs, he thought. As he made his way back inside, Rage was seated just inside the screen door and greeted him as if he had been gone a month. Okay, boy, I know. And it made him smile. It always did. I don't know what the hell is going on around here, Rage, but thanks for the heads up, buddy. Let's go lock her down and settle in. What do you say? They made the rounds from window to window, door to door on the inside, checking all the locks. Satisfied, he laid the 12-gauge on the couch and pushed the couch against the far wall, moved a little table from the corner, and shoved the couch there. He sat down, put the weapon on his lap, and leaned back. Better now, his back to the wall. Front door to his left, kitchen, picture window, back door, left center, doorway to the bedrooms, right center, and a solid wall behind him. Good. Odd how that always made him feel better. And for a moment he remembered watching an old western as a kid. Wild Bill Hickok always took the chair with his back to the wall, and Dave never forgot this, always requesting the table with the best view of the entrance and his back to a corner. Honestly, he didn't know why he hadn't moved the couch to start with. He hadn't been himself lately. He was indeed coming back, though. And he looked up at Rage, who hadn't really gone into vacation mode. And he was very grateful for that. Rage now sat, straight up, in all his shepherd beauty, tongue goofy hanging to one side. He caught Dave's eyes and attention, and Dave gave him the what's up chin. And Rage looked down, then back up at Dave. Dave noticed Rage was sitting in a whirlwind of spilt pork rinds on the floor, and Dave said, "Go ahead, buddy. They're all yours." Rage jumped up and happily ate every single one. Dave got a beer, picked up the Grisham novel that had skidded across the floor, and looked one more time out the window. What the hell is going on around here? And how many times have I said that? We haven't even been here a day. I just don't know what's going on. And then he turned back to Rage, who had his spot now on the couch. You got that right, buddy. We could use some sleep.
Who's this? Love this truck.
Jeb Perkins cut the lights off on his old Chevy pickup when he turned down the dirt road. He could drive this road blind, and if blind running drunk counted, he had. He'd take the next quarter mile by moonlight and memory, keeping prying eyes off him what he'd been up to. Only reason no one finds out what you up to is people don't get a chance to find out. Jeb's daddy used to tell him as a boy, and more than Jeb liked, his dead father's voice lived inside his head every day. Only this way 3 people can keep a secret is that 2 of them are dead. You hear me, boy? These words were often echoed by a slap in the face, or Jeb getting knocked to the floor with his dad's size 13 work boot, and once, just for flavor and style, a punch to the gut that made Jeb sore enough to hide out in these caves for 2 days, coming out only to scrounge up some grub. You don't let nobody in your business, and you sure as hell don't let nobody in mine. He remembered, as if it was yesterday, and was proud in his 47th year that he had kept his dad's secret, and he kept his too. He had told his friend Skeet that the old man was hard and he was an old cuss, but he's just trying to steer him right in an even harder world. Jeb was sure Skeet had bought this bullshit. He wasn't so sure about himself. He reached the little hill and just cut the engine and let the old Chevy roll to her stop, and the darkness hugged them both. The canopy off the dirt road was thick here, the underbrush and briar better. Jeb stepped out the truck, stood a second, and took out a hand-rolled bugle cigarette. One of 5 he allowed himself a day. He took a deep drag in like it was more than just tobacco, and felt the low-grade contents grab at his throat. "Don't you wince, boy. Wincing is for sissy kids and losers. Which one are you?" He shook off his father's echoes from the past, pulled a camo net out of the back of the pickup, and covered the truck. When he finished, he grabbed the 2 burlap bags of Farmer Bartlett's best corn out of the back of the truck and disappeared into the thicket of the hidden trail. Rage was snoring, laying on Dave's leg, and Dave's leg was most assuredly asleep, and he wished he was too. He glanced at his watch, one of the few people who still wore one, and it was pushing 2 a.m. And he was no closer to sleep than he had been an hour ago. He tried reading his novel, but every 2 sentences he'd catch himself looking toward the window. He reached out to the small table and grabbed the transistor radio he had brought.
Uh-oh.
No doubt there would be no signals out here, but it was worth a try. He had seen a 48 news tower on the side of the mountain on his way up. There was a large building and another sign proudly stating, "Home of Doppler Radar," with a smiling anchor, his sleeves rolled up like he was on the case for you. Dave chuckled and flicked on the radio.
True. Poor Dave.
Yeah.
He just wanted to fish.
Yeah. He just needed a break.
Yeah, I know.
Mr. Pop.
He turned the signal dial, and a man came through the speakers in mid-speech. "I say to you, the Lord don't want your money. The Lord don't want your promises. He wants your heart, your soul, and your devotion." This last part broke into drawn-out syllables. Devotion. Dave turned the channel and raged open one eye. "I know, boy. Me either," and smiled. Hank Williams was just finishing Your Cheatin' Heart, and Dave didn't stick around to see what was next. He wasn't used to country music yet. Loved some of it, but you had to be in the mood. He turned the dial, hitting spots ranging from white noise to crossover broadcasts. He found a woman talking in a soft accent for just a moment. She laid her hand on a gun, tears streaming down her face. Wow, a play of some kind? Maybe. And the white noise took over. He did his best to dial it back in. Just then, over the white noise, a distinctively different voice came through. A southern male voice, low and guttural, and clear, came over the white noise. "They killed me. Give it back. Why? Why?" Dave was startled at this and stared at the small radio like a face would appear on its surface. None did. Rage lifted his head to look at Dave. He waited tried tuning the dial again. It must be part of the play. Neither he nor Rage believed that, and Dave turned it off. He laid his head back to ponder all that had happened in this little cabin in such a short amount of time they had been there. He drifted off to sleep, thinking over the day's events.
Uh-oh.
One sack on his back, one dragging slightly to his left, a penlight in his mouth. Jeb struggled forward. The cave entrance was tight here, but he knew a few more feet and it would open wider, and he could stretch the ache in his back. There were other entrances to tunnels in here, too. Back when he was a boy, he could fit in some of them, and ran in them all day long, hiding things here and there, little treasures he had collected no one knew about. Caves were his, the tunnels were his, and it opened up to him like a wondrous world. One, when he was younger, was so tight he'd had to crawl on his belly like a snake. Oh, but it was worth it, 'cause it opened into a huge spot, even had a bit of a natural lake in there. Bats and other animals would gather there, and that was okay.
Bat!
It was all his then, and that tunnel had a break in it that ran clear through the other side of this mountain and came out behind some wild muscadine bushes, all hidden like by what was now called that dead children's playground off by the RV park and the garage he worked at. That place made him shudder, and he did so now. These tunnels were like a friend to Jeb, and he knew them well. He came to a turn, and he could stand up now. Off in the distance he could see a light shining dimly from his destination. He could also hear Elvis echoing slightly from ahead. "Damn, Skeet," he said angrily. "I told him to keep that racket down." And he pressed on. He emerged to find Skeet, sitting on the old green couch he had made with orange crates and stolen lawn chair cushions. The colors of the flowers now faded, but odd in such a dank and dismal cave. Skeet was loading what he called his Widowmaker, a steel slingshot he had made down at the garage, and he had a bag of what Jeb was sure was steel ball bearings in front of him, sitting on an overturned crate covered with a rusty sheet metal. "Well, hey there, boy, thought you'd never make it up here tonight," he greeted Jeb, and Jeb dropped the 2 bags of corn in a steel drum and banged the lid on with a mallet that had sat by its side. "Skeet, I done told you to keep that noise down," and nodded toward the transistor radio. "But that's Elvis, man. You can't turn down Elvis." "Damn it, Skeet, you'll bring the law down on us for sure. Now turn it down." "Sure, you old worrywart. Ain't no one finding us up in here. Why, I'm betting no one but us and your old daddy been in here for 100 years and more." Skeet pulled the steel ball back, closed one eye, and let go. Whomp! The ball bearing flew through the air and made a direct hit into the head of a huge rat scurrying across the top of the steel shelves they had built about 10 years back. It hit so hard, it threw the rat up and back and hit a poster of the centerfold of Dorothy Stratton, duct taped to the plywood wall behind the shelves. Splat! The rat's blood sprayed all over
Got
Dorothy's
everything.
smiling face and slid down the poster, leaving a trail, and hit the floor. "Skeet! Oh, God, not Dorothy!" Jeb ran up, pulled a sleeve of his flannel over his hand, and wiped the blood off Dorothy's face, making it worse. also making him think of how this beauty had died
Except for
at the
5,
hands
baby.
of her crazy husband.
Except for 5.
I'm sorry, Jeb. I told you I'd take care of these rats. There's so many. Traps ain't doing the job. I'm getting right good. Look at there. Jeb looked where he had pointed.
Rats.
And a pile of rats lay in a twisted nest of blood, guts, and gore. Jesus, man! Jeb took off his old greasy ball cap and wiped his forehead. Be careful with that thing, will you? And get those rats out of here when you leave, and be more mindful of my girls, will you? Jeb was proud of his collection of centerfolds. They covered the makeshift walls within the cave, from top to bottom. He had Pamela Anderson next to his dad's old Betty Page, and Anna Nicole next to a Farrah Fawcett he'd liked as much as his old daddy did. Shannon and Kelly and Kim Kardashian glorified the walls behind his daddy's still, and swayed sometimes when the mash got hot and steamed. Drew Barrymore smiled at him from above the sugar barrels, with her little butterfly tattoo. Marilyn was everywhere, and those he had put behind plastic poster frames he had got special on a run into town with his dad and Uncle Dean before he died, when he was just a boy. The room was covered in his girls, and stacks of old Wee and Hustler Playboys filled the room and shelves, along with the cases of mason jars and steel barrels of sugar and cracked corn and large water jugs among their beauty. It was his daddy's collection, and he had kept it a-going, as well as the family's business of being shiners. Bringing Skeet into this was not something he was comfortable with, but he needed the help. You checked those car batteries up the tunnel like I told you? I did. Changed all 3 out, hooked up the charged ones like you said. A makeshift exhaust system lined the far-off tunnel, heading away from the entrance. Small box fans and car batteries carried the smoke off and away to another exit on the far side of this cave. It worked fine to keep things flowing and the smoke out, but it still got damn hot in here when things got a-brewing. I brought in the sugar, too. It's there in the drum. And Skeet nodded toward the stash. She yielding good? Jeb reached down and picked up a mason jar filled with his dad's recipe, shook it and held it up, and watched the beads form on its top. Hell yes, just like she should, he smiled. I gotta get this out to our buyer tomorrow. Truck all packed? Packed and ready. Just the last few cases to go. Truck's out in a spot, covered up like you taught me. Alrighty then. I'm counting on you. Payday's Friday, and this'll be a good one.
Good one.
Jeb set the jar back down in its wooden case and checked the still. It was a mix of the original his dad built and parts he had to fix himself. Welding was a favorite part of being a mechanic down at the garage, and he was good at it. He ran a finger down the copper tubing and thought about the years this old girl had fed him and his family. All of them gone now. Just me and you left, Sally. His dad's name for the still. Out of all his girls, she was his favorite of all. Okay, Skeet, you get those rats out of here. Keep your eye on Sally, and I'll be back in the morning. Before I open that garage, I gotta go finish that John Deere for Hampton, and he's gonna give us a cut on the corn for the next batch. Skeet leaned in and took a shot at another intruder. Whomp! This one sprayed blood on Jeb's jeans and landed on the jars of the shine. Jesus, Skeet, you gotta clean that up now. He swatted at the rat blood on his leg with his shirt sleeve again and grimaced. Get those traps running, will you? Sorry, Jeb. Skeet grabbed up some rags and started toward the jars. And don't you dare drink no shine tonight. I need you watching Sally. Okay, Jeb, Skeet said as he wiped down the jars. I'm all over it, and you can count on me. You know that, Jeb. You can count on me. All right, then.
He's great, isn't he?
Skeet grabbed an empty crate, and he started to pick
I've
up the
met
rats
him.
by the tail and put them in it.
Yep.
I'll be back in a couple of hours. Jeez, that's gross. And, well, have a couple of days off when we get this finished, okay? Skeet smiled up at Jeb, holding the rat by the tail. Blood dripped from its mouth, and Jeb shuddered, pulled the penlight from his pocket, and ducked off into the tunnel and toward fresh air. Skeet dropped the rat into the crate, wiped his hands on his jeans legs, and sat down on the couch, reached down under the metal sheet table top, and pulled out a jar, unscrewed the lid, turned up the radio, and drank to Travis Trent, singing, "Here's a quarter. Call someone who cares." Jeb uncovered his truck and eased up the road, not turning on his lights till he reached the road away from the cave. He felt a little off, a little skittish maybe, but he had a job to do at the garage, and he shook off the feeling and lit up another bugler. Halfway to the garage, he felt he needed to drain the snake, as he called it, and pulled over, got out, and walked off to the wood line, unzipped his jeans, and marveled at the relief he felt with this simple task. He watched hot piss run down the bush in front of him when he heard a growl. He froze in his place, and it came again from in front of him and within the thickness of the trees.
Uh-oh.
A low, rumbling growl now, and Jeb looked toward it, squinting to see in the shadows. A bear? What? A wolf, maybe? He hadn't seen one ever out here, but he had heard tell. Just then he saw the shape of what looked like a large dog in the thicket. He swore he could see the glare of its teeth and a glint of an eye. He was frozen as he looked at the shape in the shadows. He was frozen right to the spot. Jesus, that's huge, he whispered, and the form moved closer. The snapping of sticks echoed its entrance into Jeb's space. And then it stood up. It was a dog, but not a dog, a wolf face, but stood like a man. Jeb's hypnotic trance broke when it opened its mouth in a snarl that made his blood run cold, and Jeb broke into a backwards run, almost fell, and banged into the passenger side of his truck. Quick opened the door, leaped in, and slid over, threw it into drive, and took off as this thing from the woods grazed its hand across the door, leaving a screeching sound of nails and metal. Jeb, sweating and hauling ass, looked at the side view mirror to see a massive abomination of man and beast leap back onto the cover of the wood in 2 big leaps. He had also pissed himself. As Dave and Rage finally slept,
Dave and Rage,
a few cabins down, George awoke to his wife Greta next to him, thrashing around as if in mid-nightmare. She was talking in her sleep, and it was sounding like nonsense to him, but he had learned to listen to her when she did this. They had been married 35 years, and Greta often had prophetic dreams, sometimes even telling him of things to come, warnings and such. Once she told him where he had packed the life insurance papers, and they were there, right where she said in her sleep, and Greta had not been anywhere near his office when he packed it up and retired. But there they were. The next day, Greta had no memory of ever saying a thing. George sat up on one elbow and leaned in, trying hard to hear what she was saying now. Greta spoke with a whisper. Roo-ga-roo, roo-ga-roo, roo-ga-roo.
I got chills.
I know. Oh.
I love Greta. George is so sweet. That's her husband.
Listening to The Strange Case of Cabin 22, Part 2. Stay tuned to find out what happens in the cabin village atop this beautiful mountain. Will Dave and Rage encounter more ghostly going on in the cabin marked 22? What was that scared Jeb so much? What was Greta saying in her sleep? Was this just gibberish or a harbinger of danger to come? Who else is on this mountain? Tune in for part 3 and let's find out together.
It's too good. It's got everything. I'm telling you, it's got everything.
It does. It does.
It's got everything. I mean, all this Halloween stuff, you know, you'll hear little subtle things like little mentions, the black cat, the bats, and, you know, different things. So the caves, the dark caves. So now you met Dave and Rage. Rage is just spectacular. He is very closely based, not loosely, closely based on Oso Perro, who was my dog. He was a black shepherd chow, half and half. And I had him Schutzen trained, which is a training for silent training of hand signals, which is why Rage does this. So that chin, like I could just look at my dog and go, what? And he'd look over there, like, look what the cat's doing, or look at, you know, over there, that sound. Or so that's for Oso. Dave's just, he's a guy, he just wants to fish. He just wants his vacation. He's up here and everything is just weird to him, but he's like not really himself yet because he's been through so much. Then you met, of course, the McGees, wonderful people that are caretakers of this wonderful place. And now, let's see, Jeb and Skeet, who are two guys, obviously, you know, they've been on this mountain a long time. They know it in and out, and they're just the mountain guys that are up there. I don't know where these people came from, Cyn. Especially
well,
Skeet.
They're all down here.
Yeah.
All
little of this one, little of this one, you know, but it's in no way, like I said in the beginning, is it ever a diss or making fun of or anything like that.
No.
It's the charm and the love and the way that the people are, and you'll really start getting into why these people are the way they are. We met Greta and her husband George, wonderful people. You'll hear that they come often to this mountain. They know the McGees, and this is kind of like their little getaway, you know, twice a year maybe. They're familiar with the area, but George doesn't quite understand everything that Greta does with this prophetic dreaming. She talks in her sleep and she predicts things in the future, but she's one of those who you'll hear as she speaks about it. She's very frustrated. She can't do anything about it. Like, why do I have this if I can't help somebody? You know, little things here and there, but I can't use it for what I want to, like finding a lost ring that meant something or something else, but it just comes to her. She has no control, you know, and that's really all we know so far about her. But with the Skeet and Jeb, I'm extremely close to, because with him, I wanted to kind of show how does a person become not really evil, but how did they become where they took the wrong journey, the wrong road, the crossroads, at the crossroads? How does one become what he is? And you'll slowly peel back his character on that, of the abuse from the father that he keeps
Yeah.
hearing the voice in his head, don't do that, don't you flinch, boy, that kind of stuff. And he hears it. His father's been dead, but it's like he's right there because he abused him so much with the put downs and the that tough exterior, obviously trying to keep him in line. So his little secret of having to still up in these caves for so long, you would have to have that tight control over keeping his mouth shut and keeping,
Yeah.
So there was that physical abuse as well as the grinding mental abuse, but also showing how he winces when he hears it, but he keeps longing, like that abused person, of always wanting the approval of, yes, daddy, I hear you, daddy. So he keeps all of his dad's stuff too, like his flask, his lighter, his this, his that, with his initials on it. He doesn't really have his own identity. He's trying to be what his dad wants. We don't really know yet where Skeet went bad, but we can kind of see where Jeb was turned, and he had this mountain was almost like his best friend. He could go and spend time in these caves and run these woods and be left alone in the peace and quiet of the surroundings and stuff. So you're starting to see these characters, find out how they got on their journey. Where did they turn? Where did they take that turn? Were they led there? Did they walk willingly? Did they just say, screw it, I'm going to be this way? You kind of sort of feel that way about Skeet too, because he's in there with these rats and he's got one job. Watch that still. Watch that drip.
He's already going to drink.
All the music in this is all very foreshadowing. So, or kind of emphasizing on something is happening now or just did happen, like with Jeb. Here's a quarter. Call somebody who cares. I'm going to drink.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn that radio up. I'm going to listen to Elvis, and I'm going to shoot rats. And he's got this kind of thing when Jeb is around. Skeet is Jeb's best friend. You can count on me. You know me. You can count on me. But when he's gone, he's like, I hate that son of a bitch. Behind his back, he's like that. He's like, he thinks he's better than me. He thinks he's better than me. He's always judging me. And he's got this, his own.
He's got his own agenda.
Yeah. And he has his own abuse, his own self-abuse. We don't really quite know where he got that from, but he's like, everybody's out to get me. Even the rats look at me and judge me. These posters look at me and everything's judging him and don't look at me, that kind of thing. So it's really a kind of also an experiment in the paranormal. If you see all these different supernatural paranormal things rolling through here, all the regular stuff, the smells, the cabinets, the doorknob, the seeing the different things going through. So, and even the voice coming over the white noise on the radio.
Yeah. Both voices.
Yeah. Who the hell is this guy? What danger? What did they take? They killed me. They give it back. Give what back? What's going on here? And Dave really doesn't quite know. We kind of go with Dave as that person who's not really sure who all these people are yet, but we're trying to keep. Dave kind of does a smart thing. He doesn't quite judge anything ahead of time. He just kind of like trying to sort it because it doesn't quite fit in his New York world where everything made sense and quick and time and everything. And he's trying to slow down and catch the cadence of this mountain. And he's just, the way he looks at things, he steps back and goes, okay, well, they said there would be some weird sounds. I'm not sure. That sure sounded like a scream, So he's kind of making mental notes here. It's like, I didn't talk to somebody about this stuff because there's too much going on. I just don't get it. And he's trying to fit it in that little world. And the only one that's really got a grip on anything is Rage. He's the only one to run through this whole thing. He's got all of his stuffs together. He knows exactly, who to trust, who not to trust. And Dave's learned to listen to him so that he's kind of his guide through his journey. He's his gatekeeper, So it's kind of neat. I hope you're enjoying it so far. And
it's an incredible story. Yeah.
No idea where it came from.
The characters, gosh, they're full. I mean, they are so real.
Cyn, this is the first time I ever sat down in front of a keyboard and tried to write anything other than my book, which was different because my book was my experiences. I was there.
Yeah.
I could tell you how it happened. I could describe it. And that's my main thing. I want to take you there. I want you to be able to see what was underneath the porch when he's there with that flashlight rustling through those leaves, and sees the Pabst Blue Ribbon cans faded over time. Somebody threw under there against looking so out of place and all this beautiful. How many times you walked up there and saw a can in the waterfall or something? Just makes you nauseous. All those little things I tried to touch to let people know too that places like this exist still. You might get on, come down a big skyscraper and these concrete cities or whatever, and get on a bus and take that hustle bustle. I've had people in my family that had a 2-hour one way to their job commute. The hamster wheels we get on and we don't realize just change. Sometimes a bus ticket or a car drive 150 miles change everything. If you can, try to get back into that nature, because I believe that we're beings that should be connected to nature. And I think whatever's trying to be in charge right now, this spiritual warfare thing, wants us disconnected from that, disconnected from our own light, our own power, our own wisdom, or things that we should be able to do, like a drop of a hat, that people like you and I and many people in this chat, many people listening that might have an ability, or whether it's reading tarot or trying to communicate with, people that are passed through whatever, mediums, psychic, the whole world of the supernatural, metaphysical, all of it, and struggling to understand all these things. And each person that you start to meet has something that you're trying to understand, some ability or some trauma that's caused them, and they're all starting to converge on this mountain Halloween night, right in the middle of a spiritual battle they have no idea is about to go on.
Oh, wow.
So that's where we're going. I hope you'll come back. I hope you will come back, and if you want to come and sit in on another chapter or something, I hope you'll continue to listen to it. It's a great story. It really ends well, but I'd love you to be here with your knowledge and everything toward the end too, when we start talking about that convergence of all these characters and why they're there. And because I think it also parallels now, everybody's starting to feel that pull to get closer together to that light.
Yes
And I think it's helpful.
There's so much going on around us, below the surface, everywhere.
Yep.
And I think people are feeling it and know things are about to happen. It's just kind of odd.
Yeah. It's all turning up. It's turning up as well.
Every bit of it.
Good night, Yoda girl. Love you, baby. Yep.
I went to visit a friend of mine, and you might have heard of him. I don't know.
Okay.
But some of your listeners probably have. He was on the Sci-Fi Channel. His name is Keith Ramsey.
I know the name, yes.
He's a very good friend of mine. Sweetheart of a guy.
Bring him on sometime. Let's talk.
Oh, he listen. He's amazing.
Yeah.
But he lives just south of Huntsville. So I went over Montesano Mountain 3 weeks ago to visit with him. And what was going to be an hour and a half turned into 6 hours, and we were just blah, 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 blah.
Just having a blast.
So we went up on Montesano and we're just riding around, looking at different things. He was pointing out a few things that I hadn't noticed before. So it's kind of odd how people are starting to notice things.
People, their lights are really turning up. I'm really so glad that for years I've been doing this show, and so many light workers come into this chat, because then the whole idea is to come in here, drop all the week, come in here, watch some fun videos, hear some great music, lift your vibration, come in the chat, same deal, and then leave and go back out, and we're recharged. And this week it's all this Halloween, but it's also this story. I think the reason I had help, and again, like I said, I talk about it like I didn't write it, because I know I was here, I know I was typing it out, and I know there was few things in here I had to tell you the truth. When I was writing, I had no idea exactly how I was going to get there. I had the beginning and the end. And then now you've got all these people, and you're trying to represent everybody, even the young young girl with abilities, trying to understand, and probably even as the youngest one coming in, the one with the strongest faith and the less question, because she's just so adamant. She'll be coming. Her name is Carney, and she's coming in the future, coming in, and nobody takes them really seriously because they're kind of like, her and her brother are kind of these beboppy youngins that come in, and they've got their stuff together more than anybody because they've come up into this so much faster than we had to struggle to get to where we are over all this time. Now they have all this information out there, and that's also sometimes the problem. So much information. Which one's the right path?
Yeah. Right.
That's why gatekeepers, light workers and gatekeepers are so important to help people along their journey. And that's the whole idea of this show. I think ghosts are misunderstood. I think a lot of this stuff is misunderstood. So here it is, all on one mountain, from dogmen to moonshiners, and everybody's going to be in there together in one big thing. And I hope you'll come back. I hope you'll listen to the rest of the story. And
I will most definitely listen to the rest of the story. It might not be live, but I will.
I understand. It's hard. I think that the last couple of years we did it, I tried to do it one a week, and that kind of was too long. And I know not everybody can be here every night, but I want to do it all together. So if somebody wants to listen to it in their car or something else, they can make it fit into their life. Because I'll tell you, by the time you get to Friday at the end of the story, you're going to feel very empowered and very have a lot of hope for even the things going on around us now. And that's the main goal, somebody to get something out of it. Thank you guys, listen, for sitting in tonight. Cyn, you've been absolutely wonderful. I hope you enjoyed all the nostalgia and it's always fun when you come here, isn't it? You never know what you're going to get.
I love it. I love being on here with you, and I love your people coming on here and talking, and everybody saying hello, and it's wonderful. I just love them. I love
slinging
you.
Bacon, I love you. I love you back. And you just, look, if this is the last show, you never know what's going to happen. I just want everybody to know that, your light, the power within you. This is where it starts. The rest of it, it's just gravy. You move through. If it's a hard time, you go, what am I supposed to glean from this? Is this something? Look, I tell everybody, it sucks when you lose $10, but did your guides and the universe use you to lose that $10? So somebody behind you that was praying for $10 or needed that $10. So if you look at life like that, yeah, the crap's going to come. Hearts will break, bones will break, things will happen. But how you look at it changes everything. It's all about perspective and consciousness and knowing that you're moving through this journey for a reason. And all of us have found each other, and we can keep reminding each other of that, because everybody, I saw the chat tonight, everybody's going through heartbreak and loss and separation and devastation and fights and everything else. Be Dave. Look at everything that's going around Dave. He's going to go keep backing up, getting a 40,000 foot view and go, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to take all the data in and I'm going to pay attention, and then I'm going to sort it later. But till then, I'm going to have a steak and a cold beer and try to get in some fishing, because you need nature. You need this, so plant something, water something, make something, make some of these crafts or foods, have fun.
Popcorn.
In spite of the bullshit. Right. Bacon, popcorn, and whatever makes you smile, Mrs. McGee's moonshine, if that's what it takes. You know what I mean? Have a buddy, have a gatekeeper buddy, right? All right, sweetheart, this has been amazing. You've been amazing. Thank you for coming short notice. Ron Murphy, we send love out there to you. We look forward to having you here next week. But Cyn, you are always a blessing to have on here. Please tell us again one more time where to get your books and where to contact you and on the lovely podcast that you're on.
Sure. Self-published on Amazon. There are 5 books on there now. Paperback and Kindle editions. If you do have Kindle, if you've got Kindle Unlimited, they're all free. All free. Free. Just read them. I hope you like them. I think you will.
And I think they even have that little thing that if you have a friend that you know that they need a little, up. It doesn't take a lot to change your surroundings. You sit here and you change your square foot of real estate, light some candles, get a Kindle, read some scary stories, share them, whatever, get a small group together and just share this kind of thing, because conversations happen and then people start to sort some of their stuff out too. And that's a good conversation starter for somebody that wants to try to get somebody, kind of a little bit away from the dark and into the light, or above that line. We always talk about that line, and everything below the line is heavy emotions and greed and hate and all that. And above the line is joy and happiness and love and hugs and, all this stuff, music, good music and stuff. So if you got a friend that's a little getting a little close to the line, maybe lift them up with some ghost stories, so some weird dad jokes or whatever it takes, but stay in the light, right, Cyn? My love to you. Let me know, girl. DM me when you listen to a couple chapters. Take your time, but let me know what you think of the chapters. I'm really interested in what you think and your opinion. Okay,
you got it.
Thanks so much for being here. We're gonna watch Haunted House on the way out. Get you some Haunted House vibe. Get you some get your feet tapping and your tail wagging and everything else. Listen, keep the closet door shut. Keep your feet under those covers, because there are things that go bump in the night, especially this week. Veil is thinning. Keep those lights on, gatekeepers. Love you all. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you, mods. Thank you for the links. My PayPal is up there too, and I appreciate all the love. It all goes right back into the show so we can keep doing this for you guys. Good night, Cyn. Love you, girl.
Night. Thank you. Love you.
Happy Halloween. See you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Chapter 3 with Steve Stockton. Good night, everybody. Good night, darling.
Lights they flicker and the candles glitter like you're in a thriller. Heart goes pum pum pum. Ghostly figures, they can get so bitter. Show you want to enter, you can turn back now. You don't know where I've been. What's going on inside? Where the monsters like to come alive, come alive. Do you really wanna know me? I'm really not that cozy. It's up to you, so you decide, you decide. Would you love me at my worst till the coffin's in the dirt? Try to break me like a curse, you know that will never work. I'm a little bit absurd. I like dancing on the verge. Anyone can love a pretty little mansion, but could you love a haunted, haunted house? Or could you love me now? A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. A haunted, haunted house. If you're just like it out. A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. Broken windows and a warning scribbled on my wall saying that you better turn around. Wouldn't be the first to try to burn me down. Your move, you do. Would you love me at my worst till the coffin's in the dirt? Try to break me like a curse, you know that will never work. I'm a little bit absurd. I like dancing on the verge. Anyone can love a pretty little mansion, but could you love a haunted, haunted house? Or could you love me now? A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. A haunted, haunted house. If you're just like it out. A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. Could you love a haunted, haunted house? Or could you love me now? A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. A haunted, haunted house. If you're just like inside. A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. Words till the coffin's in the third. making love a pretty little mansion.